Our dreams are the same. A united realm in which lesser fairies were no longer shoved down. A better world. The opposite of what Hybern fought for. What his allies fought for.
Hi, and welcome to Twin Flames Between Worlds podcast. My name is Tabitha.
And I'm Liesl.
Hi, and welcome back to A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas.
Woo!
Welcome back, yes. Season 3, yep. It's like, welcome back to this book. It's like presenting it.
Just some book.
Yeah. It's like we're taking ownership of it somehow, even though it's not ours.
Right.
But yes, welcome back. So this is episode 6 of season 3. We'll be going through chapters 30 to the end of chapter 40, which is a little bit longer, so we're ready. We're ready, though. This is going to be a really interesting section with a lot of things going on, so we're really excited about this.
I'm excited.
Again, before we start, we just wanted to let everybody know that if you wanted to see more exclusive content besides just the normal audio, please go to our Patreon account to see all the new updated things that we have on there, and we'll talk about that more at the end of the episode. But without further ado, let's get into previously on A Court of Wings and Ruin. So yes, we had a boatload also last time because we went to the Court of Nightmares, and Rhysand kind of made a devil's deal with good old Eris from the Autumn Court and Here, of all people. The two people more disgusted in the whole world.
More is worst enemies.
Right, so we had to make a devil's deal for the, for the war outcome, but at the same time, it's still not great. It still doesn't feel good.
Right, not fair to her.
And we got more of Elaine speaking gibberish, which now kind of makes a little bit more sense now as we're getting into this, which is so exciting to talk about
Elaine's
now. But neither of us thought she was crazy, by the way.
I thought she was a little crazy at first. I mean, I figured it was probably some prophetic type stuff, but I also thought she was crazy. Probably because I just really don't like her as a character.
Understandable. But then, of course, we got more of Amren's backstory, and we got the Nefel philosophy, of course. So, one of our favorite parts.
Mm-hmm. A wonderful philosophy. And gay.
Yes, there's gay elements. Yes, thank you.
Not the main focus, but still makes my heart happy.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so then we ended with a saucy sex scene. So we'll get right into the chapter 30. So as we start, after she spent, because again, last time was after the Fell philosophy, it was during their Feyre and Azriel's flight training. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't get up the next day and calls off her training, who they immediately come to the townhouse to see what's wrong. Wait, why didn't you come to training? What? Why?
The difference between them, though, of just Azriel being super nice, bringing a salve and everything, and here, try this, this will help with the sore muscles. Cass is just what the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you better?
He's just we've been through worse, get up anyway.
Right.
But yeah, so their task today, again, is to find more books. I mean, they've been doing this whole time, but it's to find books for Amren and Nesta to go over for, again, reiterating again their purpose. They want to fix the holes in the wall. There are no holes in the cauldron.
Except for the one that they got shoved into.
Yes, except for the one, gaping hole. So yes, interesting enough, Nesta and Feyre are going down into the library under where the priestesses are, and Lucian headed into town to the library across the Sidra, itching to get into the city.
Valid. But also, I was super happy to hear that it was going to be some kind of sisterly moment.
Yeah, I thought it was either going to go really good or really poorly.
Right.
It kind of did half and half, going poorly.
Kind of had a good moment, but then
I kind of do feel bad though, because like Feyre does monologue that she feels bad that she didn't get to give Lucian a proper tour, which I understand, but also we're kind of busy right now.
And also, Lucian does seem like the kind who would like to explore on his own.
Yeah, I agree. So also he's helping. I guess there's also that he's trying to help.
Which is like, okay, good. We're seeing a little bit of old Lucian.
Dude, though, my favorite part about before they get to the library is that all the sisters are sitting at breakfast, and there's Elaine is this very dusty pink gown, which I totally think of Cinderella. The first dress she had.
Yeah.
Like, I think just very frumpy. And then, like, Nesta in this very, like, pale gray gown. Both the boys come in and they both stiffen. Whilst is like Asriel sketches a bow, and then Cassian leans over Nesta with all those hulking muscles, picks up a muffin, and shoves it in his mouth, and he's like, "Morning, Nesta." And I'm like, Stop. That turned me on, bro. We're starting early. Sorry. I go feral over Cassian in this section, no joke.
I understand, though.
Though, I do want to reiterate, though, what Elaine says before we get to the library. This was very, very ominous to me, and very much foreshadowing, especially what we figure out about her later. Because, like, she looks up at Cassian and says, "He snapped your wings, broke your bones." And Cassian says, "It'll take more than that to kill me." Elaine only said to Cassian, "No, it will not."
Wow. Is that a threat, Elaine?
I don't know. Is that a threat? Is that foreshadowing? Especially knowing what we know? I'm not sure. That's very ominous.
It is.
Also, apparently, just like loving Elaine saying it in a sweet way too. She's like, "No, it will not."
No, you dumbass. No, it won't.
You will. So then, obviously, of course, Elaine goes and hides in the garden like always with Asriel. God, it's kind of annoying.
I roll my eyes at that.
So then, of course, because, Feyre can get up to the house by herself, Cassian has to take Nesta up to, and I think this is really the first time that we're actually seeing them. Whether or not it's happened before, I don't know. But it's us as readers seeing Cassian hold Nesta up and take her to the house.
First time Nesta's let Cassian really touch her more.
She doesn't like it when he calls her Nest, though. She's like, "Don't call me that."
I call her that all the time. It's easier to say Cass.
We do call her that a lot, don't we?
It's
I also
cute.
love how like Feyre pieces out of there though, like any sister would, just like, "Okay, leave you on your own." And flies up to the house on her own.
Which props to her for like
now that she can do that,
even though she's sore as fuck, like she's still able to have her wings out and glide down after she winnows.
Right, bro. Of course, because like obviously she has like very unsteady landing, but then Cassian shows up not too long later. But dude, okay, do you know like the whole Pride and Prejudice TikTok trend where it's like, okay, I don't remember, I think it was Mr. Darcy, if I'm remembering that right, and it's the idea that when the guy it's a like fantasy romance thing, when the guy lets go of the girl and he kind of clenches his hands a little bit, it's like, oh, it's because I want to touch her or something.
I mean, I have no idea anything related to Pride and Prejudice, but
uncultured. We'll get you cultured up again. It's a romance.
Like keep calling me uncultured. I don't typically watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you're, in the mountains. So
yeah, I spend time playing outside. I don't watch romance shows.
Yes, that's what I mean. We'll get you cultured back up.
I'm a wild mountain person. I don't do culture.
I guess not.
Wow.
But yeah, it's because Cassian says like his hands slacken at his side as if he were trying to loosen the feel of her from his palms.
But that does make sense. That is like something obviously I've seen in like normal movies, I guess. Okay, I won't say normal because that seems to offend. But yeah, something similar, or like it's in like reading or something where it's like literally, you clench your hands to like get out any other feelings that you might have. So I completely understand that.
But I thought it was cute because I was like, oh, he's touching her, and then he like wants to touch her more. It's cute.
Yeah, it's almost like he's like, whoa, is this what it's like to touch her?
It's like more of like, okay, I want to. It's like I'm reaching out somehow. But anyway, so obviously they go down into the library and they kind of just don't talk for a little while as they're making their way down. But, Feyre asks her, like, how do you know what to look for? Which is a good question. What is she looking for? A title? Whatever? No, it's just, she just has to feel it, which also makes sense. Feeling the magic, feeling the book, it does kind of make sense in that way.
Yeah.
But she's very helpful. Like, for the most part right now, she's like, oh, I'll go help you with that. Like, yeah, let's go do it together. It's like, at first it's a little bit awkward, but it's so awkward because Nesta hasn't been this neutral / nice to her this whole book.
Right.
So
Or
it's a
really
little-
much of any other books, except for like that one time in the first.
That one time in the first book. And I love how she explains to Nesta what this place is. Because even though Nesta might not appreciate it, there's a level of, okay, but I want you to know what this place is, if you ever need it.
Right.
And finally, we get this final, okay, now it kind of makes sense why, like, her sisters didn't really care about her reading. Because they didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, Nesta is just like, well, I didn't know you couldn't read.
Yeah,
It's
she's like watching Feyre sound out the words.
Mm-hmm. So basically what Nesta says is that she didn't know where she was at in her lessons, and then she just assumed that that she could read as easily as they could.
Mm-hmm.
I guess good on Feyre for making it not seem that she hid it very well.
I mean, but also like once they did go poor, they didn't really have many books.
And also I just don't think that they're observant.
Right, that's true.
Well,
they were
Nesta's
also
like,
very focused on the woe is me track.
Nesta is semi the most observant person and like the least observant person.
Yeah.
Ever. And I love this scene to death because Nesta says, why didn't you ask us to teach you? She said, I doubted you would agree to help.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I mean, that's
Sad.
honestly, those two sentences are a big, honestly, that could be their whole relationship right there.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, well, why didn't you ask me? It's like, I didn't think you would.
It's like, because I guess I decided I had better things to do because I thought it was hopeless to ask.
Or it's just like, yeah, you have never been helpful with anything else. Why would this thing you actually help me with?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of honesty, but it's just a big oof.
It honestly kind of reminds me of back in the first book when Nesta did insult Feyre by calling her, the wild beast. So it's like probably back then, like Feyre, if she did ask, it might have been something like another thing to call her another half wild beast.
Yeah, or maybe Feyre did think that she didn't know how to read and it was more out of spite not doing it. Could have been taken that way too. Miscommunication at its finest, bro.
Right.
And dude, I was so mad. As we're about to get to a really, like, integral part of their whole dynamic, she says, why do you push everyone away but Elaine?
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get it. And then they fucking get attacked. They get interrupted, and I'm so mad because I really wanted to know the answer.
Sarah's such a tease.
And she was about to answer it, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they never catch Nesta in a good time where she's, like, willing to talk. And so they caught her in a perfect moment where she would, and it just got ruined.
It did.
These fucking guys. I was so mad. But also it was a good scene between them, even if it was small.
Yes, yeah.
That goes in hand with like what we were saying about it was good, but it was good on their end, bad on the moral end.
Right. I mean, I will admit when I was reading it, it was quickly overshadowed by this next scene that happens, but then like going back and rereading it's like, dang, we were actually so close.
I know. Because we finally saw some emotion from her.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved how it was described to the attack. I felt in the same moment that the ripple and tremor, some piece of the world shifted. Ooh, did you also like this? Like some off-kilter cord had been plucked.
Yes, I did like that descriptor.
I like how, because especially since we know that, yes, the King of Hybern used a spell to take down the ward one time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it makes sense why the world would shift, it seems, because if I'm thinking about barrier, it makes it seem like it would shift it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like shaking the whole place.
It kind of gives me, there was like this old cartoon where it was like sci-fi and there were force fields and stuff. And so there was like a dome force field and apparently like no one could get through it. And then like this really strong guy like came up and just lifted up the force field from the bottom and slipped under. So like sometimes that's what I think of like literally their borders, their barriers did shift because it was moved just enough or like spread open just enough for the ravens to come in.
I see. Yeah. I guess in this instance, it was more of, I understand you using it as a reference. I think in this instance, it was more of like a shatter. The whole thing just like collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
I was not seeing this coming, by the way. Like I understood they were going to get attacked somehow. You know, we're halfway through the book. I'm expecting more actual battles and shit, but I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
So it's like Feyre's like, run.
Shit, run.
It's totally like a horror movie moment of, though, when the thing shatters, it's described as the Fey lights coming toward them are all blinking out one by one.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Harry Potter scene right at the very beginning of the first movie where like Dumbledore collects all the lights from the street lamps and they just blink out.
But more in like a horror movie moment.
Oh yeah. Probably like with the like super long hallway and then like the actual sound, the banging sound of them each going out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So of course, what better thing to do than to run because they don't know what's coming. So like Feyre only has one Illyrian knife. Nesta's slow.
Yeah.
Nesta's slow because she hasn't been training.
And
Bruh.
apparently
exactly...
she hasn't been scared enough.
And Feyre cannot speak to Rhys down here because that's the wards of the... Well, I think it's also the House of Wind, but also, like, the library itself, it seems. If the wards around the prison were thick enough to keep out communication, perhaps the same applied here. But yeah, so it's like, it's similar to the wards in the prison, but it's not. Which, that makes me question, too, what the library is, more so.
Yeah.
Because if it is like that.
It's gonna be some kind of prison, right?
But of course, they're, like, running. But then she's like, oh, well, why don't I winnow? And then before she winnows, she gets, like, poof in the face.
Literally blinded.
Yes, Fey-baned in the face by one dark-haired, one light, both in gray embroidered with bone white thread. Hybern, obviously. And you know what? I didn't even notice that until she actually explicitly says it. I thought she was just saying, oh, one dark, one light. I wasn't thinking anything. I honestly didn't think about that until, like, Feyre puts two and two together, and I'm like, oh!
Yeah, oh, okay.
I definitely didn't pick that up until later. Interestingly enough, though, they seem to be looking for Nesta, which was the opposite of what happened last book. They were looking for Feyre last time.
And now Feyre just happens to be here. Which, thank God, Nesta's not alone.
That would have been bad. It actually wasn't Feyre's favor to not go to training this morning. Because this would have happened the same time.
Right. It's like small things that can change things, but you don't even know that they're happening.
So basically what happened was, obviously the King of Hybern broke the ward, but they snuck in there as scholars to get in. Were the King's ravens, his far-flying eyes and talon. And again, she started, again, the Fey-bane now works, so, like, she obviously can't speak to Rhys at all.
Right. It's
so
completely...
when I heard the ravens thing, I was like, oh, okay. She's some sort of prophetic, like, can see the future being. Like, she's got, like, sightseeing magic.
And then it makes you think about all the other gibberish that she said.
Yes, which we'll get to later. So, we always knew Nesta took something from the cauldron. I feel like when people thought about it before, like, if they've never read the book before, when they say take something, they're like, oh, kind of like Feyre took, quote unquote, magic from the High Lord. There wasn't really a consequence of doing so.
Right.
Like, the fact that Hybern wants her means that she has something that literally the cauldron cannot work properly because she has it. And that means way much of a difference more than the other thing, that like the Feyre thing that I brought up.
I mean, for the king to risk, like, breaking wards and breaking into not just Valaris, but, like, specifically the House of Wind, which is technically the High Lord's house. So that's a big thing. And, sending literally the King's ravens, so they're higher ups.
That's, like, double, because remember, obviously Valaris is protected, right? But like you said, the House of Wind is also double protected because it's also warded.
And probably
from even them.
Also has its own protections.
That makes me wonder if the king could break the prison spell. Not that he would, but just makes me think that if he could do it.
I wonder. Yeah, that is curious. But basically, yeah, so the king really wants Nesta and is risking all of that to get to it.
Yes. And so, obviously, we have a couple of choices here. We can fight them with one knife, which that doesn't sound really great.
I think he does have it, though.
Yeah, they can run, but then also if they run, they're kind of chancing it. And then there's option number 3, which we go for.
There was, like, another, like, option if they did run and were able to escape from the ravens. What if they got out of the library? Would then the ravens follow them into the city? Yeah,
there's, like, and also the priestesses. They got to think about them too, because like they're in firing range if that's the case.
And this is supposed to be the priestess's safe place.
I know, which he says late, and I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what the first thing she thinks of. Risk the lives and further trauma of the priestesses and the levels above. Yeah. So let's go with option number 3. I love how she's, Nesta, I need you to trust me, with her eyes. I love how in Nesta's important moments, even though she can be a hell of a bitch, she trusts her when she needs to.
Right. And, Feyre kept Nesta alive for those years of poverty. So she probably trusted her at least to some extent there. And the fact that at least even if Nesta refuses to train, she can see that Feyre's been training. So let's trust the person that has been training to know what to do.
Right.
Who has been Fey longer.
And I love this quote from Feyre. You made a grave mistake coming here to my house. They snigger. And I hope it rips you to bloody ribbons. Badass. So they don't run to the upper levels, they run down. Right into the heart of whatever the fuck is down there. And I love this foreshadowing from SJM of like, ooh, I wonder what's down in this thing. Oh, we're gonna find out very soon.
Definitely gonna find out. And they run down into the pit that apparently terrified Cassian the one time.
So I'm thinking, what is down here? I really want to know. So anyway, they're going around and around and around because obviously this is like a big spiral.
Right.
You know, shoving away books, furniture. I mean, even though Nesta's slow as shit, I mean, they're still outpacing them. So
I also think the Ravens were thinking of it as a hunt, as most Hybern people seem to do, as what we've learned so far. Is like it was a hunt, so they were just like, let themselves tire themselves out, and we'll walk slowly behind.
Obviously, you know, because they're villains. They got a monologue. So as they're running down, honestly, I'm sorry, before I go on, I'm glad you brought that up about them, like, them prowling, because they think that they've won. Oh, they can't, like, if they're going downstairs, they can't go anywhere.
Right. Which kind of scares me, though, if they think that they know that there's no exit down there.
It's like, do you really know, though? So, we finally learn what happened to the queen. Finally.
Yeah.
So, the youngest one, I'm pretty sure, I don't think we ever really got her name, but it was the youngest queen above the golden-haired queen was the youngest before her untimely death. But she went into the cauldron right after Nesta did, after they all left, Feyre's whole thing, after they all went away. But the cauldron knew something had happened to it, and full on, I like to say genied her, because you know genies, it's like, oh, you make a wish, but you know, you get it back tenfold, whether you wanted it or that way or not, because you weren't specific, right? She didn't say that she wanted youth, she said she wanted immortality. So it gave her said immortality. So she's Fey, but it took her youth away. So, and I love the way he says it too. A young woman went in, but the withered crone came out. Elaine's voice in her head. I saw young hands wither with age.
That's a second thing in just a few minutes that has come true from Elaine's babbling.
Which makes me, was she seeing that prophecy from inside the cauldron? Because they obviously didn't see them, like obviously they went into the cauldron and came out. The reason that I think maybe she was seeing inside the cauldron is because, you know, obviously them before, it wasn't one of those things where they came out and it was like a slow transformation. I saw the elongated ear, like I saw them elongate. No, they come out, they like you don't see them turn. So that makes me think, did she see her turn? I know that's semantics, but like that doesn't really matter, but also I feel like it does in a way.
I wonder if that was like one of the first ones that she saw though, and was only able to then process it after a month. Because, you know, after, as it says, the queen went into the cauldron after they left. So my thought is, because it seems that she sees what's happening like before it happens. So what if like she, you know, she got dumped out and, you know, she was like shuddering from like the cold of the cauldron and stuff. What if in that moment that was the first time that she saw the withered hands and that was like her first thing? And then that's why it then happened. Well, that's not why, but and then it happened.
Or you're saying maybe that's why when she came out of the cauldron, she wasn't talking, like she was seeing all this stuff happen and she couldn't compartmentalize it, and so that's why she like came out and she was just kind of limp.
I think so,
because we did talk about that last season where Nesta came out and she was fine, like physically and talking, while says Elaine kind of just laid there.
Right. So I think during that time she might have been seeing a couple of prophecies or something, which is why she wasn't able to focus very well. And then, but like, so she probably only, at least from what we know, she probably saw the withering, and then, you know, then she got taken back to Mars, and that's when she had all the other stuff because she was left alone. Like, great idea. But like then that would work in the path of the prophecy of swords like coming first, and then it happened.
Interesting. We don't know. I didn't think about that.
I didn't either until kind of just now.
So obviously going on, that queen is pissed at Nesta. Like basically, Rue Nesta, that's her arch enemy. She did this to her, which honestly, that bitch did that to herself.
Or blame the cauldron to her.
She was making a gamble going in after them anyway. Who would want to go in after both of them did?
Right. Because this is like the first time that they're trying to bring, turn humans into Fae, right? And then they tried two of them. There's no promise that it's going to work a third time, right?
Right. So obviously, Feyre gets the information that Amarantha's spell book was the king's spell book, and only this apparently spell could only be used once to break through the wards of any ward. So that kind of seems OP. I'm not gonna lie.
But also, thank goodness that's a one-time spell.
Very much this gave me video game vibes of like a one-time spell you'll never be able to use, but okay, you have to use it one time in a good moment. moment, and he used it and wasted it.
He did. He could have used that for something else.
He didn't even get what he wanted in the end anyway. So Feyre's weighing the odds here, right? Feyre tells her to run away because she's going to lead the Ravens down into the bottom of the library, and Nesta can go run for help to see if somebody's coming, which obviously they do. So she like barricades the way that Nesta's running.
Of just like blocking her own way out, but also protecting Nesta.
It makes sense because Feyre's faster and, you know, she's more prepared for this.
And she's done a little bit of hand-to-hand.
And it's very noble what she's doing because also if you think about it in a practical sense, Nesta's the one they're looking for. So get her to safety first.
Right.
But Nesta does not want to go at first. She's like, no.
Which I was slightly surprised by. It's like, wait, is she like actually being like an older sister now?
I know. It was very sweet. Why does she do this in life or death situations but can never do it in a simple fucking conversation?
Right. It's because she, in simple conversation, she has an option to choose her words. Whereas in life or death, it's literally just her gut instinct.
Right. So obviously she leads them down into the pure darkness. They cannot see shit. She has to like palm her way around.
And they don't have Fey lights, the Ravens do, because they don't have magic.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of to her advancement though to not have any light going on so that they can, because they also can't see.
So Feyre and Nesta don't have Fey lights and they don't see the Ravens' Fey lights.
Dude, this creeped me the fuck out. I'll let you know. So she's palming her way around and she's like, please, this almost gave me vibes of when she pleaded in the last book. She's like pleading, please help me, please help me. And then, you are the High Lady? A soft voice whispered in her ear.
Ooh.
But also, let me just be a grammar whiz here. It's also in italic. So I was like, is he talking to her brain? Because the thing is, he's talking inside her head because they can't hear her. They can't hear it.
They're just like, what is she mumbling about?
So they can hear her talking to it, but they can't hear the thing in the library. We obviously don't have a name.
It's obviously alive. So
yes.
that Cassian got scared by something. Probably this thing.
Honestly, good that we can't see it because it's probably terrifying as hell.
Yeah. Although it makes me so curious. I do want to see it.
What shall you give me? I will say that this is very badass because I love how every time, because I know like sometimes when we think about the first book, we're just, you know, or some people do. And I'm like, no, I love the first book. But anyway, that's my opinion. I love how there's always a callback to something in the first book, right? Like, I love how she remembered Alice's words. She's like, don't make a bargain unless you really have to, unless it's life or death.
Right. And then I do love, though, the fact that she's like, even though that one time it did lead me to Reese.
Well, but she also was at life and death, though, there. Like, she really was.
That's true. That's true. Very much so. I mean, she would have been killed on the spot if she didn't make that deal.
Oh, I love what it says. It's also very, again, it's pure Sarah J. Maas to have a very serious scene while also having legs of comedy. Because, like, these fucks are just like, what the hell is she talking to? Like,
just talking to each other. Do you hear that? Who's she talking to? I bet she's crazy. Oh, I bet she's scared.
Well, it's kind of funny because they get nervous. They're just like, wait, does she know? Like, they think she's conjuring some spell.
It's like, does she know spells like our master?
Honestly, good on them for being afraid.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, they should be scared of Feyre in general, but whatever this thing is behind her.
Also, again, oh my god. Again, we hear this whole wind and earth speak all bullshit that Amren, the Carver, and now this thing are all saying. This is such a theme going on that makes me think there's like more to it than that.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell does this thing know that she wants to bargain with the Carver? Like, how the hell does this thing know that?
It once knew the Bone Carver.
That was weird. I had to do that on a reread because I did not pick that up on the first time. That this thing knew the Carver ages ago.
Before, when they walked the land. So before he was in prison.
Which makes me think, is this thing in prison too? Because it kind of makes it seem like it, but it's not in the prison. So...
Right.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. But then also, it seems like the way that it kind of like knows that the Bone Carver like made a deal or whatever, or said that it would make a deal. It's like it almost, this darkness, the shadow creature, knew the Bone Carver in terms of like knew what the Bone Carver did and liked to do. Like almost like a friend or something.
Right. And so obviously she's like, okay, name your price. Come on, we got to make this deal like right away.
Right.
They're here.
Yeah.
He says,
like right around the corner. So, okay, great. What's your deal? What do you want?
He says, company, send me company. I love how it laughs at her when she says to eat. He's like, no, to tell me about life.
Interesting.
Which is so open-ended. That's such a terrible, again, you feel like Feyre has learned a lot more by living in Prithian, but at the same time, that's a terrible deal.
I mean, I will say it's not specific enough to say you will come down.
I love how it, like, this thing is kind of polite. He's like, shall I kill them? Yeah, please. Yes.
No, for some reason, I do feel very, not personable, but like very like like close in a way with this creature just because of its politeness, but then also the fact that it decided to step in when it's like, wait, you're a high lady. So it's like, part of it is I wonder if it had heard that a high lady existed or if this is new and it prefers that there's a high lady. And then also just the fact of it's, you know, it doesn't feel very reckless. It does, I mean, obviously it's an entity of some kind, but it feels like it's a smart entity because it's like, you know, shall I do this? And then, you know, asking, you know, for, even though it could have just gone and done it, but it was asking of like, what do you want me to do to them? And then it was also just, you know, nice enough to say, close your eyes, dear, or whatever. Close your eyes.
Also, it doesn't seem as terrifying as like Cassian made it seem.
Right.
At least maybe because we don't see it.
Right. And Favorite doesn't see it. So it's like, okay, well, at least like from the sound of it, it seems fairly okay, you know, civilized in a way, even though it lives in complete darkness in the bottom of a library. But hey, maybe it reads the books.
So, when you say that the Fae lights came around when the Ravens finally find her, it's a very cinematic, and you're gonna laugh, but I thought of Finding Nemo when I saw this, because remember the scene where they were like in the deep ocean and there was the light above them and then they were going to touch it?
Oh, with the angler?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though that's not what this is, it kind of reminds me of that, where they're like, because I imagine them putting their lights up, because they're looking at Feyre, right? Like you said, but then they also put the Fae lights up and then look up and see it. And
just real quick, read it though, because I have that one like highlighted. I don't highlight as much as you do, but it always like just kind of makes me laugh in a way, because you're right, it is completely like cinematic. I saw the twin ravens first, that Fae light at their shoulder to illuminate me for their taking. Their attention went to me, then rose over my shoulder, my head. Absolute unfiltered terror filled their faces at what stood behind me. Okay, I can totally picture that.
Well, and then it tells her to close her eyes.
It's like, close your eyes, and then Favorite does, and then all she hears is the screaming.
I wonder why it said that. Is it because maybe he was, I guess I'm just saying he is in using, it's an entity. I don't really know if it's a he.
Male vibes, similar to how the caller gives me male vibes.
It does. So was he telling her to close her eyes because she'd be too afraid if she saw the true form? Or was it more of a thing that she can't look at it? Where it's like, if you do look at it, you're kind of enthralled and you start to fucking die. I don't know.
I mean, I think at first, that's an interesting thing to think about, but I think at first it was that, the creature was just like, okay, we made a bargain. You better survive this because like you have to send people to talk to me. And so it's just like, close your eyes. You don't want to see this. It's okay. I'll take care of them for you. You can close your eyes now.
I see. Well, then of course she hears Cassian come down and Cassian drags her away like, don't look. Don't fucking look.
Then of course he was looking.
Well, yeah, he did. He
already looked to find her, but
he already seen it.
I mean, yeah, but still. That's
I love
a
how
brave warrior right there. If he saw something that terrified him before, and then he would risk seeing it again to save his high lady and his friend.
I know, it's so sweet. I also love how she didn't say she saw, she said she felt Rhys arrive.
Yeah, valid. He would slam down into the floor.
Powerful man. I give him that.
A powerful, angry man.
100%.
Angry and probably scared too.
Furious. He's like, get him out. And so obviously Cassian flies her up and Rhys is launching at them. And I love how there's this beat of silence, of no screaming. And then as they haul up Nesta and get out of there, the screaming started up again. And I think that's supposed to signify that the thing got done with it and that Rhys-san torturing them.
I definitely get that vibe of the thing. We don't get anything related to like if the thing talked to Rhys or whatever. And obviously Rhys put up the black shield because he knew Feyre would want to look back at it. But it's very much of like, I picture this dark cloud or whatever on top of the ravens, right? And then backing away as Rhys gets closer, exuding his own darkness. And then it's like, Rhys is like, all right, my turn.
I was going to bring up about the High Lady thing though, is because the Raven said, High Lady of the Night Court, and then the thing starts talking to her and says, High Lady of the Night Court.
Part of me does wonder though, if that thing down there would have just killed anyone that goes down there. And so the reason that it was so close behind her, speaking in her ear, as we're told, makes me think that maybe it was like about to attack her or something, or was like investigating her, and then they said High Lady, and then it's like it paused and it's like, you are High Lady? Maybe I won't attack you then.
Maybe like in congruency with the prison, it's one of those things where the blood won't get hurt, the blood of the Night Court won't get hurt, maybe.
Also, to say the way that Nesta immediately ran to Cassian.
I know, when we get into the flashback.
Yeah. And also, before they took off from the ground to go back up, like Cassian just opened his arm and Nesta just went to him.
There's no arguing here.
all adrenaline. She knows better.
I love this. Also gives me a cinematic moment of them immediately going from like point A to point B, and then just Cassian smashing a bottle of brandy on the table. Drink.
Yeah, a fade to black, and then like it opens up again, and it's just like, drink this.
It's like,
Feyre's
keep
I don't
drinking.
want to, and he's like, no, you better fucking drink.
And obviously, he's asking Feyre if she's hurt, and honestly, no, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them really got hurt.
I mean, other than the Feybane, they're fine, and maybe a little scared.
So the king's not in the city, thank God. He wasn't there, but it was just the Ravens and the attack. So it's more quarantined off.
Yeah.
It was more like of a tried sneak attack, but it didn't really work.
Very much.
And of course, Rhys appears. So they kind of sit in silence until Rhys comes back, and blood is coating his hands.
I imagine it dripping off onto the carpet.
I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, I think this is the first time we're seeing him with blood on his hands.
I think so.
This is the first time. Yes, it is.
I mean, back in the first book, when Amarantha was killing Feyre, he picked up her bloody ash dagger, but it didn't say specifically blood on his hands. So I think you're right.
No, I think so. Well, it's also the difference of intent here as well. The whole point of him, he doesn't need to use his hands. He could kill anybody, like the whole hands in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He can kill anybody without his hands. He wanted to feel their lives ending with his hands. So that's why he used them.
And then he comes back and he's like completely wild.
Farrell is hot. I'll give him that.
But
Farrell
this
is hot.
In a defensive way.
But it's defensive and protective.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
maybe
enemies did come in and try and attack his mate.
Maybe I just have different priorities. That's also a really big possibility.
Heart is in the right place, but yes, your priorities sometimes can get flipped.
Yeah, so anyway, so obviously frozen in rage. And again, this is also the first time that we're seeing a bargain tattoo not with Rhysand.
Mm-hmm.
So again, remembering from the first book, Rhysand said that every bargain made in the Night Court has a tattoo on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get tattooed.
Which reconfirms like the fact, before I had thought that because he was a High Lord, that's why his bargain had a tattoo, even though he said everything in the Night Court. But then now, obviously, now that I've read this far, the swirls obviously are chosen by him because, those are his Illyrian swirls. So I guess I did appreciate the fact that the tattoo with the thing down there was not Illyrian swirls.
Yeah.
But I'm understanding now that literally that's what Rhys said is everything that lives in the Night Court, that is currently in the Night Court, does bargains like that.
I think that's something we don't know yet about how they choose. I feel like the person making the bargain chooses what is okay, I think it's two things. Because the reason Rhys was the one to initially make the bargain, he chose the tattoo because obviously he told us last book, like you said, he wanted to give her warrior tattoos to symbolize she was going off to war.
Right.
I think with this, because basically she has a very small band on her upper arm. And it's very small.
And it's it's not a complete band, which I find curious. I know that is just a minuscule detail, but the fact that it's a half circle and then a gap, like a finger's width gap, and then it continues around the backside of it.
I think that matters, but I don't necessarily know why that matters. Because did the thing in the library choose that for her, or is that more of a fate thing? That's more okay, if you're gonna get this. I think that there's an element to that of the essence of the magic change, or picking what the tattoo would be, but I also think that there's an intent. So it's kind of a toss-up. I don't really know.
Yeah, we don't know. It would be kind of funny to think about the thing in the library, just sitting back and choosing I totally think that this would look good on you.
But obviously, I love how Rhys's first thing when he talks to her is, "What did you give it?" Knowing
his eyes went immediately to it because, her whole arm her whole sleeve had been torn off.
Yeah,
so it's that's why it was visible. So his eyes immediately went to it.
I love how also it's funny going back to the whole bargain thing from the first book is that how upset he gets at her having to make a bargain. I mean, obviously because he thinks that it's somehow his fault, which it isn't, babe. But there's also a level of you shouldn't be having to make these life or death bargains,
right?
To be especially in our own home. Yeah. So I think that's part of it.
I think that I was gonna say something similar of the fact that bargains, obviously Rhys knows about those and the consequences of them, but then also I think Feyre probably told him about what Alice told her originally about not making bargains, and so you shouldn't make a bargain unless it's a life or death situation. You shouldn't be in a life or death situation at home,
and especially because of how much she has progressed in her training. training. The fact that she had to go that far to know that she was probably on death's door if she didn't do that.
A Fae in training now, training with Cassian, and she still had to make a bargain. I mean, she killed Branna and Dagdan, like, just fine, you know, sword to sword, that kind of thing, without having anything related to that. So it's like, okay, she must have been really bad.
She probably would have been able to kill them if she didn't get Fae-baned and she had more than one weapon.
Right, and could see.
Also, did anybody also notice that Fae-bane was, like, immediate? Because before, it was over time. This one was, like, immediate, which makes,
part of me thinks that it was because, you know, previously it had just been little bits of it put in their food that they couldn't notice. And then, you know, the apple dosage is what sealed it off. But this one, like, I mean, there's actually another thing I want to say about this. But firstly, the fact that it was a visible blue powder, which, you know, they couldn't see the blue before. So it was like it was blown into their face directly.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I was going to say was the fact that it was, like, in their mouths, basically. And so it's like, okay, they must be immune to Fae-bane at this point then.
If only. But yeah, so that I definitely noticed that because it's very much mechanical warfare about when things make it more deadly than it was before.
Yeah.
So it was like, this war is so interesting on the political front, on the innovative front, and on the actual war front. So it kind of had all the layers to me.
Yeah.
So obviously, Reese is not happy. Liesl said it was not a specific enough deal that she has to bargain. She has to go herself to see it. It's more of kind of open-ended.
Yeah.
But again, now it's time to press Nesta about what she stole. It's like, now it's time to be just like, okay, what the fuck?
Right.
You've kind of been not telling us anything, but
now we've literally had another attack because of it.
She says, I don't know. Even Amryn can't figure it out. Which, if Amryn doesn't know, then we don't really know.
Right.
I love how, like, Nesta just completely ignores Reese and turns to Feyre and is like, why did you tell me to run? She's like, you're my sister. Bitch, what do you think I was gonna do? My thought about that was, like, bitch, what do you not get yet?
Yeah.
Do you not get that I would, like, you know, travel moons for you?
Right.
What are you not getting yet? So, anyway.
Somehow she's not used to how genuine Feyre is.
So everybody's kind of making their way back now because they got infiltrated, but nobody else knows about it because it was very isolated incident. So what the spell was that the king used was called a fleeting spell. Again, that could only be used once when they really needed it, which means they're desperate.
Right.
Sorry. It makes me so funny where it's like, Feyre tries to speak mind to mind with Reese, but then he's like, fuck that. He's like, I'm mad. I'm talking out loud. Like,
yeah, it's just like he can't differentiate between the two.
Because he's upset. He's like, okay, they broke into my house, attacked my mate, tried to take stuff, tried to take a person.
Tried to take the mate's sister, but also someone who is technically in their court as a guest.
Technically his family now.
His sister-in-law, technically.
Honestly, there was nothing he could do about that. That spell could break through anything. So, again, that was too OP for him. It's like, yes, Hybern showed their hand at last. So, it's like, there's kind of a sliver of doubt at the conquest now. I also love how Feyre is the one that's she's the one that got attacked. And she's the one that's calm.
She's like, calm down. And he's like, calm down.
It's like, no, it's an interesting sort of strength, okay? Of seeing, I think there's also a theme throughout this section specifically with that, where the guys are getting really riled up while the girls are kind of calm. I think that also shows like a different thing that we've never really seen in modern day, where like the women are, I don't want to say the women are better at warfare, but there's a level of level-headedness with them that the guys aren't really having at the moment. Blind rage is good when you're on a battlefield, but it's not really good when it's like this isolated incident.
And on your home turf. I mean, I understand the anger, but also we haven't really even seen Reese this angry in a while.
I think his mating bond coming in.
100%. They tried to attack his mate.
In the place where he told her that she'd be the safest.
And where he felt the safest.
And I know he brings that up later, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, but poor Clotho, dude. Clotho saved them. There's like a warning bell system for the priestesses, and she rang it.
Clotho is a queen.
Yes, she is. And then we finally get to what Felisa was foreshadowing earlier. Reese shows Feyre what happened in Cassin's mind when Nesta stumbled out. And Nesta launched herself toward him. He opened his arms for her, unable to stop his approach, his reaching. Aww. Cass is so mad to see one of the most powerful women he's ever met so scared.
Yeah.
And not even really scared for herself, even.
I know. She just gripped his leathers and was just like, Feyre, and pointing behind her. It's like, oh shit.
God damn it, Cassian. Strength, such untapped strength in that slim, beautiful body. Bro, can't even have it for one moment.
I know. Even though this is like Danger's thing.
He's like, she's really strong, but also hot.
She's super scared, but she's really hot.
It's like, I can be your protector, babe. He's such a himbo.
He is such a himbo.
Also, I also picked up on the fact that she has a bunch of strength. Dude, she has no training yet, and she's already super strong.
Mm-hmm.
That's also questionable. I don't really know what that means, but...
Yeah, I think the magic that she has, that she took from the cauldron, or whatever it was that she took from the cauldron, is giving her like that physical strength. It's seeping into her body. So even if she doesn't have like muscles or skills or anything, put them to use. Pure adrenaline, I think, will fire up that magic or whatever that power is.
What also made me think of it kind of made me think of Feyre when she was like way stronger than what it seemed. That she was like, they kind of compared her. We said this last season. They compared her to like a High Lord in training, which makes me think, is Nesta the same?
Right.
Does she have that same strength where she could be? Maybe she could be a high lady too.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just in their bloodline.
Maybe. Because then also the guys, they have to make like such a important situation also very funny. They're just like, well, as long as you don't bring it to solstice dinner, I think I'm okay. And he's like, whoever, they'll make it a punishment for whoever misbehaves. They'll have to go down and talk to it.
Yeah. I think it's sweet though that Rhys hears Feyre when she says to calm down. And he's like, okay, how do I calm down? Okay, I use humor to calm down.
100%.
Also, that would be a terrifying punishment.
Talking to it? I thought you would be like gaming at the opportunity.
To go down and talk to a dark thing in the darkness?
Yes. As long as you don't have to see it if you're just talking to it.
Okay, maybe.
Don't look at it.
I'd be too curious.
Though I will say, oh my god, this was so cool. So, what's not funny is like, okay, if it was so easy for Hybern to infiltrate the city, everybody has to lock their doors tonight, children off the street, curfew, because guess what? Amren is going on the hunt tonight.
The plague from Prince of Egypt.
Very much so.
Where everyone who is on the good side paints their door frames and man thresholds with lamb's blood as an offering.
I'm glad you brought that up because, like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. It's a biblical thing. The biblical tones is kind of cool to see. But also, Amren on the hunt, bro, that's like probably terrifying as hell.
For Amren, this powerful being that, like, immediately when we first met her, we knew she was terrifying. Even in that small body. Like, yeah. And the fact that she's the second to the High Lord, that's terrifying. And then just baseline, that's terrifying. Add on the fact that she's going for a hunt. When you think of a person hunting in the city like that, that's like, okay, yep, definitely children. We're gonna all sleep together in the same room tonight.
Well, it's like, as long as you're inside, she won't bite.
Mm-hmm. I do think, though, that does say a very important note about, because everyone in Velaris, some people are nocturnal. They choose to go outside at night and sleep during the day. So for there to be a curfew where no one's allowed outside in the city of Starlight at night, that is terrifying in its own right, even without them.
Right, because they're up at the House of Wind right now. Mm-hmm. So then they go down to the townhouse to meet everybody. Mm-hmm. So yeah, obviously, Rhysand gives that warning to them, like, that also means we have to stay inside. Mm-hmm. Which, okay, before, I know we need to get through, but I do want to say, it makes me think, does she, like, remember how last episode she said that if she was unleashed that she wouldn't recognize anybody? Mm-hmm. What if it's a thing, though, she kind of unleashes that, a little bit of that when she's going on a hunt, where it's like, if she did see somebody that she knew, she wouldn't know it, and so that's why everybody has to stay. So she wouldn't know if it was like a children outside, so she'd eat it anyway.
Like a half unleashed kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
as much as she can while in that body.
Yeah, that's what makes me think of anyway. Mm-hmm. So again, every man meets up at the townhouse except for Amren because she's like loading up on fucking blood and shit. Yeah. Also, the fact that Elaine is nestled up to Moore is kind of concerning. I don't know why, but she's just kind of nestled up next to Moore, and I got really weirded out by that. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else did. I think maybe it was just me.
I just wasn't expecting it.
Because why are they looking for Nesta and not Elaine? Again, yes, Nesta's the one who stole, but I don't know why they wouldn't want her too. They're kind of just letting her go.
It's almost like they don't think that she took anything.
Which in this one, it doesn't seem like she did. Yeah. But anyway, of course, Lucian's there. Again, literally everybody is there except Amren. So again, the priestesses are going to keep silent about what happened today because honestly, I kind of understand where the boys are going out about this. Mm-hmm. They can't afford to look weak and defenseless as the High Lord meeting is coming up because last time they were taken by surprise because Velaris had never been attacked in the 5,000 years that it's been around. This time it happening makes him look unprepared.
Right.
So 10 days until the meeting, as we're counting down the days.
Oh, dang. Then our counting in our last episode was not right.
It was wrong. And then, of course, Elaine coming in with the clutch. The queen might come. Which one, bitch? Now they're all silent. I love this beat of silence because now they're getting it.
Finally. And while I don't ship Elaine with Azriel, at least Azriel is kind of listening to her, though.
He was the only one who did. That's wild. Yeah. The one who was cursed. No, not that one. Another one. Because remember, okay, maybe this is because I've read these books so much, but remember, Azriel doesn't really get involved in discussion.
He's very the quiet, listener.
He, stays on the sidelines, and he listens. But no, Azriel's the one to, take a step into there, into the threshold. The queen with the feathers of flame. See, because the thing is, so if we're gonna go through, beat by beat of all this muttering that she did, she kept bringing up this feather of flame, but in somebody who was cursed, but it never, was put two and two that was one of the queens. It was kind of, separate.
Yeah, she did say that the firebird lands on snow or whatever, and, firebird, feathers of flame, that kind of thing. It's okay, what is that? It's wait, that's a queen?
Yeah, because it made sense that it was somebody who was cursed, but now it makes sense that person is the queen. I kind of do, okay, I appreciate Lucen tries to help her because she does seem to get overwhelmed, but Azriel's she doesn't need anything. We're the ones who need a seer. God. So, sorry, Liesl is rolling her eyes at the fact that Azriel and Elaine are having a moment.
Well, it's not gonna happen. Literally, why is Azriel snapping at Lucien, who is Elaine's mate?
To be fair, when I read this the first time, I was so pro Azriel and Elaine, and now I'm not. But I will say this was cute I'm not gonna lie. When I first read this was cute to me.
There's an element of it that's cute, but the moment he snapped at Lucien, I'm Lucien's just trying to help here, dude.
He really is. He's just,
Azriel
he doesn't know anything.
Alone.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit that he just yelled at his mate. It doesn't matter. I just hate how Lucien doesn't matter in this scenario.
It's so stupid. Lucien deserves so much more. I mean, yeah, he's messed up at times, but he deserves so much more.
I know. But anyway, yes, now everything makes so much sense. That's why she's been yammering on. Things are adding up. She tried to warn them. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I love how she turns to Moore, because I don't think I picked this up on my first reread, is that Elaine looks to Moore, is this what this is? Because again, we don't really know much of Moore's power, which is something we'd go into further.
Right.
But we don't really know what it is. But of course, it's some sort of truth-saying power. But Moore seems to look at Elaine and analyze her, and oh, no, she is. This is what it is. This makes sense. The magic of hers had last solved some puzzle. Elaine all of a sudden seems to be happy. Very much shifts from this oppressive state that she's in. I think when I first read this, again, we're very weathered to this, so don't try not to take it too personally on Elaine's end. We have thoughts about her, but at the same time, when I first read this, it kind of made sense why she was happier, because she was oh, now I understand what this means. I'm not crazy. It makes sense why she's happy all of a sudden. So yeah, now we're talking about the sixth queen. Yes.
Finally,
the sixth
we
queen.
get to see who she is. Well, we don't see her, but we hear about her.
So then Feyre finally puts two and two together. Nesta stole from the cauldron, but they're thinking that the cauldron gave something to Elaine, gave Elaine magic, which is very different, because why would, this is a thing we've been pondering since we've read this book. It's never said.
Right.
It's never said why, but the cauldron seemed to like Elaine, and so gave her stuff and gave her magic.
It was nice to her, and then Nesta took from it.
And so now, cauldron / king is mad at Nesta for taking anything. So three things. She knew about the ravens. She knew about the one queen getting withered, aged. But she also knew that the sixth queen is alive, because they didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought she was dead. Personally, I thought she was dead. When the golden queen said that last book, I even said that. I was I thought she was dead.
Yeah, I think I did too. But then, when it happened with the queen is not ill statement, she was not ill, that made me think that they did something to her, locked her away somewhere.
Yeah, you took it like that. I took it as she was dead.
Right, which both could have happened.
I will say this whole time when she's talking and they're figuring it out, what's really cute is that Lucien and Az, they really seem to be in awe of her, which, okay, even with my opinions of Elaine, I think it's kind of cute that there's these two guys that are are like, oh my god, she's so cool. Like, there's an awe that I appreciate.
Right.
So, dude, immediately, I will tell you this, when I read this the first time, this is exactly what I thought. We hear, she was sold off to a dark sorcerer lord. Lane can't see him specifically. Immediately, when I heard of a lake, I was like, oh shit, this is Kosechi. 100%.
Yes.
Why would the bone carver talk about this brother on the lake and it not be that guy?
Right.
Again, it's not confirmed. There's no name or anything, but like,
It's
okay,
gotta
come
be.
on. Like,
I mean, a sorcerer, typically you think of, if it's a sorcerer, that's like pretty powerful, and Kosechi is like one of the death gods, so.
Well, and she talks about it being a darkness. So I'm like, okay, all of those fucking death gods are darkness, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think about her not being able to see him?
I'm not entirely sure.
Because she says she can't see him specifically.
I mean, one thought at first that I had was that it was like he had wards up or something, but considering like what we're hearing about her being a seer, that shouldn't matter, you know, if she can foresee in like the future.
Well, maybe if he's a death god, maybe he has power to shield himself. I don't know. From
or maybe
prying
he
eyes.
knows that she sees him because he's a death god. He knows that she can see him, and so he's sending her different images. But then that begs the question of like, why would he want her to see those questions? So these are all just theories at this.
So again, let's beat by beat this. So what she tells us, also, why didn't she say this shit before? Or is it because now she's finally accepting it? She's saying all this stuff, but why didn't she say all this before?
Right. And part of it I think is because people are only just now listening. But you're right. There's like this level of, okay, she should have at least like tried to explain more before, right?
Because I will say, when we first see her at the beginning of this book, she did talk about how she heard screams, which are obviously those women that they're talking about. But anyway, as we get into this, there is an onyx box as he possesses more vital than anything. Obviously, don't know what the fuck that means, but that means something. The girls he keeps, other girls, others like her. But she, by day, she is one form, by night, human again. Again, such a Shrek reference. It's like, by night one way, by day another. Like,
right.
I keep wanting to go in like the Shrek monologue whenever I read it. But yes, Firebird by day, woman by night, which is honestly, that's so epic. I'm not saying that like, I don't feel bad that this woman is cursed, but that's obviously like an epic power. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. I mean, assuming that, you know, she can actually use fire.
Yeah, because she keeps hearing the one queen scream in rage.
Right.
Which I feel bad about.
But the fact that it's specifically rage and not fear or something.
I do love, okay, now I don't have any evidence about this, but as soon as she says, because I think Reese asked, can you sense where she is now? Or sorry, no, sorry, let me reiterate. I love what Moore asked. She says, do you know why the other queens cursed or sold her? No, it's all mist and shadow. There are too many shadow references and mist references in these like whole fucking books. I don't doubt that means something, but like, I really don't know what that means. I just wanted to say it. So if anybody else has comments about these, please do, because I really don't know what that means. Again, lake deep in the continent, hidden, totally makes sense. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Their feathers are as white as snow. They glide across the water while she rages through the skies above it. So these women are like all birds, basically, it seems. Birds of a sort.
I think white floating on top of water, I just think of swans. So it's like, okay, why is this one burning?
I don't know, man. I really don't know what the bird reference is. It doesn't make any sense at all.
We get a lot of bird references in this section. We get ravens and we get firebirds and these white birds.
Now I see where like the brother death god comes into play, but it was one of those things where when I read this the first time, I was like, we're not gonna get anything about this until like 3 books later, are we? Right. This seems like so much setup.
It does. She's starting early.
Like always.
Yeah.
But again, the only thing that Asriel can tell us about the Sixth Queen is that she's young. She was the youngest. Mid-20s. Scythia lies along the wall to the east. The smallest amongst the human queen's realms, but rich in trade. She goes by Vasa. What a cool name, though. Not gonna lie. Again, perfect example of what we were bringing up last episode about how we can't even see Scythia. Like, there's like an arrow pointing to it.
Right.
So again, we don't really know how massive this continent is, and somehow that's very uneasy to me.
I looked up what Kosechi or Kosche means in language, and in one language, it doesn't actually say which, but it means captive, slave, or servant. And then in Russian, it means an evil shape-shifting monster who is very hard to kill. Koschei the Deathless.
Well, I mean, Sarah does pick her names from old languages, so I don't doubt that that's the case.
I just was not actually expecting to find anything.
No, you'll find anything when you look up stuff like that. So also, these are like her kingdom is like a horse people, which is interesting to me. I also love how Moore knows. Like, it seems like Moore is the one who knows the most about the queens, or like the human realms in general.
I mean, it definitely seems, because when the queens met for the first time, it's like, I don't see anything of my former friends in you. Or it's like, I'm interested to see them because I was friends with their ancestors or whatever. So it's like, she probably did spend a lot of time in the human realms.
So basically what ensues here is kind of a big debate between them about if this woman is a potential ally. Because obviously she probably doesn't agree with the reason she probably was sold off by the human queens is because she didn't agree with them. Now, obviously she could be a potential ally, and she could be helpful if they find her, but I'm actually on Cassian's side here. They don't have time to go to the continent, find her, and even if they do find her, somehow rally a human host to somehow get it all the way across however long that fucking continent is, to then only not be able to break her curse. Like, there's too many variables here that they don't have time. The meeting is in 10 days. The war is going to be on them, honestly, in these chapters. So it's not really beneficial for any of them to go. And I really do agree with him here. But I also agree with Moore because Elaine has to be seeing these things for a reason. Like, why is she seeing these things about the queens? Why is like, because usually whenever we see like a seer or a prophetic, all seeing kind of thing, they're getting shown it to them either as a warning or as something that'll be important in the near future to pay attention to. So why would she be getting all these things about her if Vasa wasn't important?
And the fact that now there's actual proof, the ravens came after she said they would.
Yeah, especially, like, interesting how these timelines are going, right? Because she brings up the queens not too long, and the ravens not too long before they show up. Like, maybe a day or two. So which makes me think the Vasa thing has been ongoing. Which makes me think that she keeps getting those things until, like, they actually figure it out. Moore is, like, itching to go to the human realm because, of course, like you said, if she has ties to the human lands, of course she would want to, and honestly, if she wasn't needed to fight here, she probably would be a really good person to go over there. But again, it's not on them to do so. They all need to be here.
They're all necessary, in this area.
Fucking Feyre, though, she's like about to volunteer herself. It's like, no, you are needed now.
Everyone has their jobs. I'm not that important here. I'm not doing anything.
You're the fucking high lady that you need to be at this meeting. I also really appreciate the detail about how they bring up about the human armies, how they need more time, because it's such a subtle detail, but obviously, I didn't really think about that. They do need time to move around.
I mean, even on horses. I mean, there's an element to that makes horses difficult, though. Like, horses move faster, but then they would need to go long ways around things that humans could climb down.
And just fare faster.
Especially the ones with wings.
And they can winnow. I love how Moore says it, though. It must be vital. If we ignore it, perhaps we'll deserve to fail.
That's a good quote.
And guess who speaks up and mans up to the plate?
I know it was written this way, but I totally thought it was Feyre at first who said, I'll go. Just because it's like, I'm not needed here, I'll go. But then it's like, nope. Then he repeats it again. Lucien
is staring at Elaine as he speaks it. He's like, I'll go.
He's like, I'm clearly not loved here.
I think it's more than just self-deprecating, though. If I want to be honest, I think it's a level of, he sees that it's something that it's like Elaine's doing, and he's like, I want to do something that is important that was given to Elaine. It's like, even though he knows that Elaine doesn't like him, there's level, or at least that we know of, that he is willing to do the thing that she prophesies to do.
He wants to show that he is listening to her and that he believes her and is willing to go to the continent to follow a lead that she has given them.
He is willing to brave the continent alone during wartime and possibly like Fae territories that would not approve to find Vasa. So here's find Vasa, break the curse, attempt to bring her back, get a fighting force together.
That's a lot for one man, for one male.
And finally make it back so that they can save them. No big deal.
That's a lot for one male, and also that takes time. Like, they're running out of time.
It makes so much. Also, it makes sense. I love how, but it's also a purpose.
That's true.
Ever since he got to the Night Court, there's like this sense of like him just lagging around and kind of doing what Nesta and Elaine are doing, more so what Elaine is doing and just kind of vibing. Because again, Nesta has a purpose now. Whilst his Lucien didn't, and so I feel like this gives him agency. But also, his eye is very magical and it can see things, and so, it'd be good for him to see see her, I guess, pick up on the magic.
Yeah.
I said, just don't fucking die because we love you.
Yes.
I'd be so mad if you just died.
You need something good to happen to you. You can't die yet.
I know. I'm not needed here.
I mean, unfortunately, that is kind of true.
I love, like, this raw moment, though. I don't belong in the autumn court. I'm willing to bet I'm no longer at Hull, the spring court, and I can't sit here and do nothing. No.
The fact that he's not calling spring home anymore.
I know. Well, honestly, it hadn't been anybody's home for a while.
That's true.
I do love how, you know, Reese is like, you know, it's going to be dangerous, and he's just, wouldn't be fun if it otherwise. And I was like, spoken like a true Illyrian.
Yes. See, he might belong in the Night Court eventually.
He's got it. Also, he gets to raid Cassian's personal stash of Illyrian weapons. That's an honor.
That is.
You know how much that boy loves those weapons.
Yes.
Stop.
Sitting there, like, eyes, like, looking up and twirling your hair.
Oh, shut up. I just like playing with it. Shut up.
Oh, you meant your hair. Okay.
If only. Anyway, digression. So, Reese will winnow Lucian to where he needs to go, as far as he needs to go before he needs to start his search, which I guess is good. You know, he doesn't need to brave the whole journey there. Okay. Again, Nesta, I think I appreciate her more, but there's a level of, she's afraid if Lucian goes. She's afraid of, like, what will happen to Elaine, because if the mating bond is severed between them, I mean, we've never really seen it, but I bet it's nothing good.
Probably not. I mean, also, just that Nesta is more worried about Lucian not dying for the sake of Elaine, rather than just Lucian not dying. Which, okay, makes sense. They're not close. She doesn't like that Lucian is Elaine's mate.
That does not surprise me, though. She could probably give a shit about him.
It's kind of funny, though. It's sad, but funny.
So he's just like, okay, we'll leave tomorrow. Already?
Like, that's fast. He wants to get out of the city.
Yeah, well, also, they need to go now. If they're even gonna have a shot at, like, actually getting it done, they need to go now.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I was surprised about is that when they all disperse, Nesta leaves with Feyre and Rhysand to go upstairs and leave Elaine and Lucian alone. I know that might not seem like a big deal, but it is.
I mean, she hasn't done that before. Like, she's refused to leave Elaine alone with most people, let alone Lucian. I think what happened in the library, well, probably drained her, of course, but has made her, like, rethink some things, or realize that she needs to rethink some things.
I have, like, two thoughts. I think it's either in the way that you just said of her rethinking, maybe that she trusts Feyre, that she wouldn't have somebody like Lucian there if he wasn't at least trustworthy. It in some regard. Or she saw Lucian attempt to know that he wasn't wanted, but to respect Elaine's wishes in the moment and be like, okay, but this is what I'm gonna do something. I think Nesta is very much a woman of action. She would rather, she doesn't like pretty words, she doesn't like flirting, she likes action. So the fact that he, like, doing something to potentially, you know, prove that Elaine is right, but also to, you know, show how much he actually cares about everybody, it's his way of adding to the war effort. And I think she appreciates that above all else.
I think, yeah, I agree.
I wonder what was said. I mean, I don't know. We don't know if anything was said between them. And I kind of hate that we don't know, but also I love that it's ambiguous.
I feel like they did maybe say something. I mean, my reasoning, I know we're not there yet since we're going beat by beat, but just like when he does leave, you know, she takes a step forward, makes me think that they did say something.
You were literally going to say the same thing I said. I agree with that 100%. I also, dude, this was really, really sweet. I love that Feyre takes care of Rhysand when they go back up to their room.
Honestly, this kind of, like, soft scene, it's very domestic. I mean, other than the fact that she's washing blood off of someone's hands, but, you know, very domestic. And it's just like, you know, she's washing his hands and, like, listening to him, but then also giving him advice. And it's like, that is a healthy relationship right there. And I love this scene.
I love how in these moments where it's not just the one way, because we've seen it a lot where Rhys is giving her strength in moments, especially last book, but there's a lot more equality to it this time, of where there's moments where Feyre is the one giving Rhys strength when he needs it. I just love how he's just like, she's washing his hands and then he's just like, I wanted to feel their lives end.
I mean, I think he's like open to talk talking about it. So that's a good step.
It was like a slow progression, right? Like that was the immediate thought, but there was more depth to it. He was like, I have all this power and I can't do anything with it in these moments.
Right.
Like, because I think like something specifically he said was, the point of all this power if I can't protect those who are most vulnerable in my city?
The priestesses and Nesta.
The king used an archaic spell and walked in the front door. Well, yeah, and like Hybern attacked the safe space, again, the library, taking away that space that was the priestesses, that was Reese's, that was like Moore's even. He thinks that it's like payback, it's karma for taking Valaris away from Moore and giving Kier access, which some people have a theory that that's what it is, but I think that was going to happen anyway.
Probably. I mean, if it didn't happen, the king would still have that spell, and I feel like we'd hear about it some other way.
We'd use it some other place where he tried to capture Nesta. It's just so. It's like she takes his hands in hers, and she's like, "What happened was not your fault. Let's remember that, babe."
It's so sweet.
Honestly, when she talks about how they forgot about Amarantha's spellbook, I don't think they forgot about it. More so, like they don't know what's in it.
Right.
Even if they did remember it, what could they have done against that? Again, it was a fleeting spell that only could be used once. Nothing could have prevented that. So I'm calling bullshit.
Just Reese being all soft and down on himself in favor of picking him back up. So
I love what she says though here about moving past it but not forgetting. We'll remember all these attacks when the time comes.
Yeah.
And then of course he's got to be, shameless flirt, kissing the poems. He's like, give you a raise for all your sage counsel and vital services you provide.
Other vital services.
She should be getting like $1 million then.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, she probably has. She's married to him now, so she's got all the money she could want in the world, bro.
Right. Money can't buy happiness, but Reese can.
Yes. Reese can buy money. Reese can buy money. Is that what I said?
Yes, it is what you said.
Honestly
he could.
Yes, I think I agree with that. So obviously, Amren found no foes while hunting through Valaris, which is good. You already brought it up, but I did again want to reiterate the people leaving the offerings of lamb cups at the door, or they warded their door. I will say that I know you brought up the Prince of Egypt, but it's also a Fae culture thing, because I've done some research on like Fae and real life and their lore, and that was a thing as well. Because do you remember Cal and Mai when I was talking about this? Is way back in the first season, so if you wanted to hear that, I talk about the Fae lore of called the first, like the long hunt. That was what they used. So if you didn't want to partake in the hunt, you'd have to put wards at your lamb's blood on your door. Yeah. So it was like for all those Fae creatures. So it wasn't just a biblical reference; it's also a Fae lore reference. Yeah. So obviously, Reese and Moore spend the day with the priestesses to kind of, I don't want to say repair, but I don't know, show them the new wards and give them some agency, I guess.
And a little bit of therapy if they want to talk about it.
Yeah, because I really appreciate that, because the priestesses, none of them deserve to be violated again. Yeah. Well, just let you know, now shit's getting real. Hybern's here, the war is starting, like, this is like first, actually Valaris was kind of like first attack of war, but this is also the precursor to what's to come. This is the first time. Stuff. Yes, this is the first time it's happening in this book. Yeah. So obviously, Lucian, strapped up, ready to go. He's like strapped to the nines. He's got like 2 swords, knives, a fucking bow and arrow, and
he's braided his hair back.
That's a you thing.
That's a warrior right there. That some people can rock it.
I feel like he could. He definitely has got the man bun going on, though. Cassian is probably one who rocks the man bun a little bit more for me, but I also think Lucian could as well.
I feel like it works though with Lucian having the braid and Cass having the man bun in our opinions, just because for me, I guess with man buns, I think of like long hair, but like medium hair, like to the shoulder or slightly lower, versus braiding it. I definitely think of like much longer and down your back when it comes to Lucian, like, guys' hairstyle like that.
Lucian would have a good half do.
He would, yeah.
Where like half of it's up and the other half of it's down. Ooh, I really love this. So as they're saying goodbye, it's kind of so ominous that the continent is so well guarded that even Reese, the most powerful High Lord in history, cannot go any further than where he's taking him. We need to know more about the fucking continent. Sarah, please. I want to know more about this.
Release a guidebook, like the different locations, the different geography of this world.
I want to see a whole map, bro. I want to see a whole map of the continent.
Yeah, if not a whole like little like guidebook, then yes, a whole map.
Because we're only seeing half of it. I love this. Feyre gives Lucian a big old hug, and I love what he says. It was time for me to do something. Damn.
So he knows how little he's been doing, and also references reference back to the whole he didn't do anything before with Feyre.
Yeah. It's so like, it's so loaded.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this is a big task, bro. This is a really big task.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I love how Rhys extends his hand. It's like the beat by beat of this is very interesting. Rhys extends his hand. Lucian's about to go for it, but pauses because he's like, it's almost like he feels like Elaine is coming in a way.
Yeah.
I also love how this is also somehow a truce between him and Rhys.
Yeah. Of like, thank you for doing action to help me in my court.
Yes. And to help the world. Like, before the dark wind swept in, Lucian looked back. Not to me, I realized, to someone behind me. Pale and thin, Elaine stood atop the stairs. Their gaze locked and held, but Elaine said nothing. Lucian inclined his head in a bow, the movement hiding the gleam in his eyes, the longing and the sadness. He did not see the half step she took toward the stairs, as if she'd speak to him. Dude, Elaine, what fuck, man? He could die! He could die if he goes!
And all you do is take a minuscule step towards him.
I mean, at least when I read this the first time, I guess I was just happy she came at all.
Mm.
She could have not. I mean, she could have done worse. She could have just said fuck him and then not showed up.
Right.
But I think it's also half-assed, so...
Yeah.
So obviously, Nesta's in the other room practicing. Well, then Rhys comes back, and like Feyre's just kind of sitting there for Rhys to come back. And when he does, you know, she's happy to see him. So obviously, I think Nesta's just not really into the whole magic thing. I think she's not accepting it. She's kind of just letting it. Nesta does not seem to like that Rhys calls Elaine a seer. Now, I kind of agree with this because, okay, I'm agreeing with Nesta just on the pretense that even though I think Rhys is saying that in more of an innocent way, there's a level of she doesn't want Elaine to just be used.
Right.
Which obviously that's Nesta taking it the wrong way. That's not necessarily Rhys's fault. But I understand why she's saying it like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, Rhys is back. The little, can I provoke you instead? Like, I think they're like about to go bang, and then of course Amren barges in. Like, dude, I didn't expect this either. This was like beat after beat, my man.
Yeah. They just can't get a break.
So yeah, Amren barges in a full-on rage, which we really haven't really seen.
Right.
Hybern is laying siege to Adriata as we speak. Holy fuck. That is not good.
Not good.
So it's like Hybern made a grand move at last. And Tarquin has not called for aid. That's wild.
I mean, he's still pissed at them, rightfully.
I know, but also, like, at this point, okay, of course, because of course, all of them, obviously besides Lucian, but all of them gather up in the townhouse again. So they're kind of taking account. It's very, like, boom, boom. The armada scattered along the coast. The army was put on the spring court border because of what Feyre did. So their army is not in Adriata.
They cannot blame Feyre for that, though.
Dude, Hybern was there already. That wasn't Feyre's fault, bro.
And on top of that, like, I mean, I know we're gonna get to it later after this epic action scene. The fact that they're, like, trying to blame Feyre on this, it's like, no, like, literally, you are on the west coast. Like, you are probably the closest city to Hybern.
Actually, yeah.
So it's like,
probably if we...
especially because they came in from the bay. Literally, they came on ships. That has nothing to do with what happened in spring.
No, it doesn't. But obviously, yes. There are many people and overwhelmed. And I love how Amren at first doesn't say who it was. It's like, okay, who is giving you this information? How many boats are there? How many ships? Like, can you tell me? And then, so obviously they're kind of asked very much questions. It's like, I don't know. It was a warning from Varian to prepare our own defenses. So this bitch, this baby boy, Prince Varian, the one that we thought that, like, hated Amren last book. Well, no, we didn't. We knew immediately.
Yeah, we could tell something was there.
Well, and obviously because of the necklace he gave her by the end of last book.
Right.
This boy is not sending Amren a warning for aid. He's sending her as, hey, we're getting attacked, babe. You guys need to prepare yourselves.
But of course Amren is like, no, we're gonna come help you.
Well, yeah, because, like,
it's the right thing to do.
I love how she's just, that's what friends do. And I'm like, okay.
I think part of that, though, I think the friends was also aimed at Rhys of like, hey, you could still be friends. And this is one way to help repair that relationship is go help. I know you want to, Rhys. Go do it.
I know, it's like, I guess we're going to summer now? I guess we're going to summer.
Summer vacation.
Yeah, not great. So obviously, yes. So Kier and his Darkbringers are not allowed. So it's the Illyrians. They're going, the Inner Circle's going besides Amren, and because Amren has to protect Valaris, and the Illyrians are going with them. Also, so this is our first battle sequence with, like, I feel like battle sequence. This is like a first battle.
A battle sequence? Like, Valaris was kind of battle-ish. I mean, it was obviously an attack, but again, that was an attack, so they were defending. Whereas this, they're going in with more purpose. this. And I think it's interesting because it's kind of our first battle sequence, like you said, but also Feyre's first battle.
Because I feel like the difference between Valaris not only was like a sneak attack, but in the sense of it was creatures, and it wasn't like warriors with steel and swords and shit. It was kind of like a magic attack. Well, so this is very much like steel against steel. But it's also our first time seeing Mor in battle, so she's got her hair braided back, fucking strapped to the nines. Like, you're probably like, yeah.
Epic.
So obviously Cassian, Azrael vanishing to go to the Illyrians and their freaking 7 siphons. It's like, hot baby, I'll see. Dude, that siphon thing is not something I can get over, okay? Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. I've got an Illyrian of my own.
I know. But I love how it's Nesta that's standing there. Will you fight? Obviously, but like, we'll fight if it's required. Honestly, you know why I feel like this change of heart is coming on? It's because I think Nesta's finally seeing Feyre in a commanding way. Because before, it's almost like Nesta was trying to push Feyre to see if she'd stand up for herself. And she never did before. But Nesta's words don't mean like shit to her now. And so she knows that. And she knows that she's grown so much. And she's seeing it. And that's why she's more concerned.
I mean, the only little bit of like instruction they ever got from her was, kind of not really backed up, but like commands of like in the first book to go chop wood or something, or start a fire, I'm gonna go change, or take this back to the house, you can spend this much money, blah, 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 blah. And then just when Tamlin came and like broke in, she was, splitting up all the rations and telling everyone how to deal with themselves. So she kind of had an amount there, but since then, like, she has like, we haven't really seen much of it. And I'm honestly proud. I'm proud of how much she's grown and that she has this confidence to do this now. And it does make me happy that Nesta is seeing that, even if she doesn't say anything about it specifically.
But she's showing worry.
Yes.
And I appreciate that.
I'm just like, wait, is my youngest sister really gonna go fight in a Fae battle?
Like, this is different than everything so far. This is a full-on, like, war battle.
This is different
that
from
people
just
don't
hunting
survive.
in the woods.
Very much. And she knows that.
Yeah.
So obviously Mor's gear is a little bit different because Mor was gifted seraphim blades from Draken. So again, those other winged people that we were talking about, it's really cool that they are from him. Because it kind of separates her from them, sort of. Like,
that
shows
she has a different style.
Yeah. Because it's like a curved blade and it's weighed less. And obviously Amryn is going to drink up some more blood to, fuel herself to protect Valaris. We haven't been able to see Mor in action, so she looks deadly as hell. This is going to be wild. This is going to be great. I'm not excited for like a battle scene, but it's definitely one of those things where nobody's going to die in this one, right? I was like, oh, it's like one of the first battles. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
So obviously, I love how in the description when Rhys gives Feyre the signal, it's like he can't really even talk to her. There's a level of, he can't really talk to her, so he just like lightnings her the signal.
Yeah.
I love how then Mor turns to my sister. I had never seen her seem so warrior-like, but here was the Morrigan, the female who had fought in the war. And she says to Nesta, it's nothing we can't handle.
I mean, yeah, they've probably been in worse battles before, but like, I'm thinking, as we're basically Feyre at this point, are you sure we can handle this?
Yeah, like, I think that was for Mor to reassure Nesta more than Feyre, but so obviously Mor winnows them right into the midst of it. Mor winnows them into the palace, because obviously they're not needed on the front.
Right.
The Illyrians and they have it. So basically Mor and Feyre's objective is to clear out castle.
Yeah.
Which is a good task, I think. I mean,
especially
and they
for
do
Feyre who hasn't seen that much battle, it's enough.
How do I say this? What's good about what their strategy is, it's obviously they're not coddling Feyre. Obviously they're putting her into harm's way, but there's a level of know your strength. If she's not very battle hardened, she's not going to be useful on the front lines.
Right.
Might as well put her in a place where she can do a lot of good. I like that, especially in like Game of Thrones, where there's a level of knowing where to put people and knowing where they excel is just obviously something generals do really well.
It's a game board, basically. I mean, obviously war is not a game, but there's an extent of knowing where to play your strengths.
Which is especially why I love Cassian, because because Cassian is not just a brute. He has forethought and knows where to put people. He's really, really good. Anyway, I think especially with what you said, I love the description of what's going on. Because immediately when she gets there, she's talking about the smell, the screams, the water turning red. It's very SJM again, no qualms to relay a brutal scene.
Yeah, which I love the realistic part of it.
It's not this pretty epic battle music of, yes, we're doing this thing. screaming.
Right.
It's, yeah, everybody's screaming. Yeah, so funny enough, no other court has come to aid.
Great.
What the fuck? Dude, literally the Night Court is probably the furthest from them, and they were the ones to show up.
Mm-hmm. Even though 3 of them have blood rubies and Cassian is not allowed to be there.
Yeah, we forgot about Cassian. He's no longer allowed also in summer, so...
Because he destroyed one building. I'm guessing that means Hybern's not allowed there because they've destroyed many buildings.
So it's fucked. I don't really understand why that happened, but I think also there's a level of self. The High Lords are kind of selfish sometimes. The other ones?
They're prideful.
They're self-preserving.
Yeah.
If they see a battle isn't going to go their way, they're not going to want to put themselves in harm's way.
Right.
Also, they just don't seem as, how do I say, as put together as the Night Court does. I'm not trying to be biased here, but they don't really seem as put together.
Not as organized, and certainly don't have a fleet of Illyrian warriors.
Well, and let's remember this, because this is actually important for meeting to come.
Mm-hmm.
No one has prepared for war. The Night Court is the only ones that have actually prepared for this to happen.
Yeah.
So no one else has prepared up to this point. Well, until now.
But I also feel like that, and I don't know, I just had a gut feeling that that's gonna backfire of oh, you're preparing for war. You knew this was coming. You must be on Hybern's side.
Well, and that's kind of what Tarquin says at the end here, but I see what you're saying. But yeah, something is going wrong Rhys's magic. So as they win it, because, he obviously winnowed all the Illyrians in there, our hot boy doing his magic. Something's wrong with it, because he would have been able to end this battle really quickly, but it's not. It's going on.
Right.
And I really appreciate more here. I love this quote.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming, another war at some point. I knew battles would come for this war, but I forgot how terrible it is. Again, I think just somebody reiterating the voice of reason there of, yes, we're experienced. It's unfortunate that we're experienced in this kind of thing, but it's still horrible every time.
Yeah.
Also, yes, as they're hearing it and looking, Alice, I totally forgot. Alice literally left Spring because she knew something was going to go wrong to go to Adriata just for this to happen. I'm like, oh my God. I said, she better be alive, girl. If we see her dead in the street or something, I'm going to riot.
I'm going to be so sad.
I would have been so mad. Though, I do want to reiterate again, this is a very different Feyre than we're seeing. Because remember back in the first book where she was the one who would, could barely even murder 3 innocents to protect the world, is now here killing a bunch of other people to protect innocents. I guess in that instance it's different because she was killing innocent people, but
at the same time, it's just, I get where you're coming from. It's an improvement for sure. And she's gotten stronger in mind as well.
She knows that that's not defining.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are kind of tainted by the blood they take.
Right. And just the fact that if she did stand back and watch, then that would be more defining.
And it wouldn't, all these innocents would die if she didn't.
Right.
So yes, as they make their way through, making through the palace, Moore's just if you can't make the kill, please let me do it. And she's like, nope, I can do it. And I love how these fucks, the high fae that were in the palace, are barricading themselves on the higher levels, leaving the lesser fae down on the bottom floors defenseless.
Yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
Totally what we were talking about last book with Tarquin talking about the high fae and the lesser fairy dichotomy between there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this whole writing sequence is just amazing. The first 2 kills made her pause, but then it became easier as it and then it just became numb at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, when I was making my notes for this, when I was going through, I just heard a good old-fashioned beheading, which is literally verbatim what it says in the text.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love this woman's writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good old-fashioned beheading. It's what? You're having this super serious scene, but also I'm laughing at the same time.
Right.
Of course, then she starts drowning the males because, again, we're in summer, so she's more tied to the water at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is also Moore's first time ever actually seeing her, because at the Battle of Valaris, nobody was really watching each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, Moore and Feyre are... also, I don't know about you, but doesn't this remind you of... This is kind of a bonding on a weird way. Sometimes when you fight side by side, I don't know, in other fantasy books, or even fantasy movies, there's we fought side by side at the Battle of so-and-so.
Yeah.
It's I trusted you in a moment where I could have been killed. There's a level of bonding there that makes it seem very funny to me.
And there's a level of not being behind. I mean, because Moore says in the text of if you can't make the kill, stay behind me, watch my back. So I feel like there's a difference between having someone's back and defending their back, and then hiding behind them. So I think that I like that difference. She could still watch Moore's back, but she also decides to defend by not letting any of the soldiers even get close to Moore.
Yeah, when she's got her magic, come on, use it.
Right. I mean, she is literally a high lady.
But I appreciate Sarah's harshness about these kind of situations when a city's under a siege.
Mhm.
Like they Moore and Feyre bust into like this hall where I'm assuming these lesser Fae are getting assaulted.
Probably.
Or they're about to be raped or something. I'm assuming from the context of the scene, it kind of seems like that, because Moore and Feyre kill the people they kill some of them, but then leave 2 and knives for the lesser fairy to finish them off, which makes me think that something more happened there than just them getting attacked.
Yeah, females helping females.
Yes, and the fact that they lingered on them too. So finally, they find some of Tarquin's warriors, and dude, this is kind of badass. She like shadows the whole hallway and changes her eyes again to that. I knew you'd like this. Changed her eyes back to being able to see in the dark.
Yeah, the animal type eyes.
Well, it's so cool that Moore, being from the Hewn City, it makes sense she'd be able to see through the darkness. Because I think it's, I would say, Moore, I think, was born able to see in the darkness.
That would make sense.
So I just love how, like, so they see Tarquin and the other, like, bad guys. They shadow the hallway, kill the fucking bad guys, and then Feyre takes the shadow away, and then the Tarquin soldiers are just kind of sitting there,
Yeah, soldiers on both sides scrambling back.
Feyre's badass, man. I gotta say that. Honestly, she's leading the charge here.
Yeah, she goes from like, I can do the killing to like, don't be afraid, I've got you.
But yeah, so then of course, you know, because they clear out the whole fucking castle, they make their way into the streets and they clear out the streets.
Yeah.
And I like how you brought this up before, where it's kind of like winnow kill. Reminded me of the when Rhys got captured scene. We don't see Alice or her nephew, so that's good.
Yeah, we can only hope that they're safe.
Yeah. So she finally, after like they kind of clear it out and they're kind of, I don't want to say done, but they're, you know, done doing their duty. She tries to bridge towards Rhysand. And I love how she sees a fortress, because, you know, while he's in Valaris, it makes sense that he's not like, has his walls up a lot. I mean, I think they're still there, but not like this.
Right.
And obviously she puts like a hand up to it and he lets her in. But she gets caught, because remember, he blocked her way out.
Yeah. If we remember from Rhys's lessons, if you don't have a pathway back out, like, you can get trapped in there, and that's how your mind basically gets trapped away from your body. And so obviously we know with Rhys it's fine. Like, the fact that Rhys even like let a minuscule crack open for Feyre to slip in, that's a risk in itself.
Yeah. So she's seeing through his mind and eyes. Why am I getting excited about this guy and his blades and killing everyone instantly? Like, I really don't understand where my priorities are, but I think I can find common ground with a lot of people.
I think so.
Also, dude, this is the first time we're seeing him fight with blades.
Right. Which, again,
we haven't ever
going back to Akamath with, it's like, if Cassin heard you say that, then he would pummel me.
Well, yeah, it makes also sense why he'd fight with blades as well, because his magic is diminished.
And also, he doesn't know where the Feybane's gonna be.
So obviously, Rhys finally makes his way to the main Hybern ship deck, because he's trying to look for the source of what's stifling his magic, because it's not only stifling his magic, it's stifling everybody's, and also specifically Tarquin's too.
Right, it's like focused towards High Lords and people with bigger power.
Which, it's funny that she doesn't.
Right.
Her power is not diminished.
I thought it would be because she's further away.
I don't know if I feel like that's a cop-out answer.
I mean, it kind of is. I mean, so that could be one option, more cop-out. But it could also be like, because she's not one specific High Lord.
Or maybe it's like a verbatim thing. Maybe it's like for High Lords, but not for ladies.
That's a possibility.
Because magic is specific, you know?
Or it could be like the High Lords, but she doesn't have enough of a single High Lord in her. So it couldn't maybe just not recognize her.
I also love how he like lands on the deck and just 6 people get poofed instantly.
Damn, that's a powerful male right there.
It's like, okay. But guess who emerges from below deck? Oh my god, that shock. I did not think the King of Hybern would actually appear. Which again, we realize he actually doesn't. But I mean, in the moment, I was like, oh my god.
Like, why the fuck is he actually here?
He hasn't been here any other time. Is this him finally like crossing over?
Right.
It makes sense.
It does. But I was totally not expecting it.
I was like, okay. I said, babe, you better be fucking careful. Because he seems to know everything, bro.
Right.
So obviously the king was waiting for Rhys to find him. And so obviously Feyre is seeing this through his eyes. He doesn't have a weapon on him. What a fucking arrogant bastard.
I don't trust it.
Mm-mm.
Because back in Hybern, like, he didn't have a weapon on him then, and he still, like, diminished all of their magics and stuff.
Well, if he has the cauldron, I mean, I feel like that's a weapon in itself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's probably a weapon in himself if he's a king, a Fae king.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, what, like, Feyre is saying here is, like, there's, like, two options. Rhys is trying to look for ways to kill him, but he also wants to take him and torture him, and I'm like, no!
Obviously, there's one choice that's better here, Rhys.
What's the point? What would be the point in fucking torturing him?
Only for his own satisfaction of what the king has done.
Like, what information would be gained? Nothing.
Right.
Which, obviously, I'm thinking to myself, this isn't gonna happen. They're not gonna kill him, and they're not gonna torture him, so, like, what is going on here?
Yeah, probably the king will escape.
As soon as Rhys went for his mind and found nothing there, I mean, we should have all known, but
yeah,
none of us did. I hate this. This interaction, and it's just so eerie as well.
Yeah.
Like, the king is playing with Rhys about Amarantha, and, like, we haven't really heard, so all of last book, we were sort of free of her in a way, of talking about her.
Yeah.
But he is just bringing it up the whole time, and we are all wanting to protect him.
I know. Including Feyre, who's literally seeing it and feeling Rhys.
Talking about, like, fucking her and shit, and I'm like, bro, you need to stop.
Bro, back off.
The last report I received from Amarantha, she was still enjoying you. And I hate that the other people on deck are sniggering as they hear it. How do I say this? The king is very pissed at Feyre, specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate this, like, source of entertainment that they have with him.
Yeah.
And he's being really strong, too. But also, oh, yes, now I remember where I was. I said, the king is really pissed at Feyre.
Oh, yeah.
And all she's done. She helped kill Amarantha, she killed the Adder, his niece and nephew, broke through his wards, and he's not happy at all. It's almost like there's, like, two different enemies here. Cauldron doesn't like Nesta, but also King doesn't like Feyre.
Right.
So it's like there's two enemies going on here.
Those darn Archeron sisters.
Though I will say, okay, bro, this is the first time we're actually hearing about Tamlin ever since. And the king is telling us that Tamlin is pissed.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I mean, yes, I mean, that wasn't surprising, but he has plans for you after what you and your mate did to him. This is bad, because obviously Feyre doing what she did obviously made it easier for Hybern to infiltrate the land, but I have the assumption I think that would have happened anyway, regardless of if she had anything to do with it or not. I think the only difference is that Tamlin looks bad in this scenario versus the other one. Like, if Feyre didn't get herself involved, Tamlin would look more innocent.
Right.
I think it's just all a matter of perspective at that. I think the same thing would have happened.
In some way. I mean, they were already planning to be there.
Yeah, that was his whole end game plan anyway.
Yeah.
He says it. He said it made it easier. It was already the plan. It just made it easier.
Right. It's not like, oh yeah, it gave us an opportunity. It's like, no, they were already doing that.
So obviously, like, the king is showing his hand here. He's telling Rhys and said Feyre everything he knows. He knows about where her gifts came from. Which, can I just say, how does no one else know where it came? What's the one event that made her Fae that would make more sense to see where her gifts came from?
Right.
None of these other High Lords are picking it up, and it's dumb.
It really is. It really is. Also, I don't trust the fact that the king is, like, sharing all of this info right now.
I mean, I think Feyre says something later that I'd appreciate about it, is that he's hoping they do the opposite with the information.
Yeah.
And just, like, keep on lying and shit.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. So obviously, apparently he's using the spell specifically for Rhys. And I don't appreciate it.
Like, back off from Rhys.
Perhaps I'll give her to Tamlin when I'm done. That's the first time that he actually shows fury on his face. He's been kind of, like, seemingly calm this whole time, and that's the one thing that gets him fired up.
It's his mate. Like, dude, that's his mate that you're talking about right there. So you're gonna die now.
I know. So, again, what are with all these fucking OP spells? The spell will wear off. Another little trick I picked up while rotting away in Hybern. So it's like, okay, while I'm here, while I'm in astral projection form, I can have this, thing lingering over you. So I guess here we also kind of sort of get Hybern's intentions here. Basically what Hybern is saying is that when they made the new world, there was room for everyone at the table now. And to Hybern, for people who are not worth being at the table. Which, what a bold statement for those people to just be like, there was said to be every room at the table, but not the people that were deserving of it. But he's like, but they call themselves the loyalists. We're stifled and don't want to coddle the humans with their wealth and resources.
Coddle them? Have you seen how the humans been living?
My first thought was just like, okay, so bigoted.
Yeah.
All these, like, totally white privileged people, they don't deserve the resources. It's like, oh wow, okay. This is kind of mirroring real life way too much, Sarah.
Right.
So we shall reclaim what's ours, what is always ours, and what will always be ours.
The king makes me like heavily high at the same time as growling.
Oh, 100%. But also, I guess knowing their stance is important.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what they're fighting for.
Right.
Even if it's wrong. But I love how, like, Rhys lunges for him, and then the king just vanishes. And it's like, bro, he was not even there at all. What a coward.
I mean, but that's also, one thing I will say is, that's very similar to letting the villain monologue in the movies. It's like, well, you could, just like try and attack him sooner. I mean, I know then that would kind of defeat the purpose of the whole monologue of learning all this stuff from the villain. But like logistically, don't you want to like just attack him as soon as you can?
I guess we wouldn't have figured out the whole like he knows everything if he didn't monologue.
Right. Which obviously that makes sense for stories. But logistics in that sense are just like, most of the time, I've seen a couple movies where the heroes literally just shoot someone before they start their monologue. I don't want to hear it. It's like,
I'm sorry, that was funny. Dang. So again, all because he's gone, the power is allowed back, and the fact that just Rhys missed all the ships with the people on them in the lingering distance.
Mm-hmm. That's some power right there.
A male with power who knows how to use it. Mm-hmm. Hot. Even if this is wartime, that's hot as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. And you know what? I'm gonna accept myself. This is how I am. So
good.
If that is not your cup of tea, don't worry. Because I love how he says you were here too long, and he like caresses her, and then he like basically pushes her out.
He's like, okay, go back to your body now, love.
Well, yeah, because dude, Feyre, like they're still out in the city. She was just in a trance this whole time, sitting there while Moore's trying to fucking wake her up, and
like, where did you go?
Yeah, it's like, bro, what? So yeah, Moore, finally shakes her back, and Feyre finally vomits because not just I don't think it was just seeing the king. It was also just the she was talking about the blood in her mouth earlier and the killing, and because I appreciate how Moore was like, we all vomited after our first battle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of understanding there.
Yeah,
tide turns in their favor.
Right.
Everybody starts to win now, and Feyre reiterates to Moore, the king was here.
I definitely don't think they would have won without Rhys getting his powers back and misting everyone.
I agree.
Or at least they would have had more casualties.
Yes. I think they would have won, but it wouldn't have been worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That spellbook is so fucking scary. Like, dude, he has a spellbook and the cauldron. I feel like that's like unfair somehow.
Cheater.
Again, they have a book as well, and they have the sisters, so...
But they don't really understand the book right now. Like, they're working on
it. I think Feyre now understands why they're so triggered at this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Why war is so triggering, and I really appreciate that as a book. Sarah does a really good job of, like, talking about PTSD, and, well, not that they call it PTSD, but that's basically what it is.
Right.
Like, war flashbacks, and just, sometimes having anxiety about similar events.
Yeah.
So it's like, now she understands, because she says, like, the war raged on for 7 years. She's like, 7 years of this?
And she's only been there one day.
Yeah. So, of course, but again, she understands that to win, she's gonna have to bloody her, she's gotta clean and bloody her swords again.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
I do too.
So then they winnow up back to the palace to regroup. I love how they see Varian first.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably the best person to see first, since he was the one that warned them.
Probably.
Yeah, like, again, I know we reiterated this before, but let's not forget the death sentence on their head. That literally means if they see them, they are dead.
Right, they're going to be hunted.
And no matter what happens in the scene, at least that didn't happen. At least none of them attacked.
Right. Probably saw them fighting in the castle in the street.
Mm-hmm. So, like, Varian makes his way over, right? And he's in the oak dining room. And, like, Moore puts herself in front of Feyre, because, again, Moore doesn't have the death sentence. It's only those three. Mm-hmm. Well, 4.
Except Cass doesn't even really have a blood ruby, though.
No, Cass doesn't have a death sentence. He just has a I shouldn't be here thing.
It would be frowned upon if I were here.
Yes. But Feyre was thinking that Varian was talking about Rhysand. No. They go into the oak dining room, and who do they see but Tarquin?
She's like, where's my... Oh, shit, Tarquin.
Yeah, he's not happy at all.
Rightfully so.
Hey,
rightfully so.
Sorry?
It's like, sorry for what?
It's like, he's pissed, obviously, but they did help him, so he's not necessarily... He's very aggressive, but not, like, physically aggressive.
Right. He's just on edge.
I love how the first thing he notices, though, is the ring on her finger.
Mm-hmm.
Which, didn't they talk about that last book, that she didn't want to have, like, a ring on her finger while she went out? Because she was... I guess in that instance, it was like, oh, we don't want to show our mating. But I guess in this instance, it's not the same.
And it was very sudden of, oh shit, there's an attack. I don't have time to go up to my jewelry box and take off my ring.
I guess. And it's also magic to keep it on. Us humans, like, there's not a real reason for it to not fall off. So, obviously, like, I know you said this before, but obviously this does kind of look bad that, I'm not gonna lie, Tarquin thought they were coming to quote unquote finish the job because no other court came, and because Varian didn't tell him about sending aid to the Night Court, so he thinks that they knew about this attack and was planning to come along and help Hybern, which
like, no,
doesn't make any sense.
It's like they wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of agree with Tarquin in this instance. It doesn't look great, but at first, like Moore's the only one that's talking to Tarquin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your warriors fought bravely, fought beside us, you know. We would never ally with Hybern. That's literally the one thing that Rhys said when coming, but Tarquin doesn't trust anything they said.
Right.
I am talking to Feyre Archeron.
Wow.
Using the last name. Oh shit. Okay. Out of all the things she could have said, though, this was the best thing she probably could have said.
Mm-hmm.
Our dreams are the same.
Mm.
I feel like that's also showing him that she really did care about what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in that moment when they were talking about their dreams for the future.
Yeah, and the fact that she did say that she wanted to be his friend.
Yes. I mean, it was a shitty circumstance, but hopefully this is leading more towards a brewing friendship if they can get past this.
Or at
I mean,
least
obviously
setting so that they're back to base level that they can then build off of.
Also, thank God Rhys appeared, because I was like, I don't know how we're going to handle this situation without him.
Mm-hmm. Classic Rhys, just winnowing in.
My mate and I had our reasons, because again, let's not forget, because sometimes I honestly forget who knows what, because I don't think really anybody besides the Spring Court and the Night Court know that they're mates. I think only Eris knew because he knows everything, but also they also didn't know that she was the High Lady. So nobody knows garbage.
Right.
So obviously that doesn't really make him happy. Seeing them as mates.
Yeah.
Wasn't it obvious? Rhysand asked with a wink. God damn it. God. Yeah, you said it before. Tarquin kind of blames her for ruining Tamlin's court so that it made it easier. But what I meant by, like, Tarquin, it looks bad, like, the whole thing looks bad. Not only just this. They stole the book, lied to him about their true nature. Then Feyre got saved from Tamlin, destroyed his court, and now they're here.
Right.
It doesn't really look good. It looks sus, but especially because he doesn't know they were warned. Because how would they know?
Right.
If they weren't preparing to do it themselves. I still beg to differ on the whole fact that it's her fault, but maybe that's my opinion. Because there's some very, like, striking things in the community where people really don't condone what she did in the Spring Court, which maybe I'm just on the, like, camp that I thought everything she did it wasn't great, but it also, like, everyone kind of put themselves in that situation.
And it was a necessary thing, too. There were a few things, that she did to spite Tamlin, but the rest of it literally was High Lady trying to gather information and get back to her home.
And we talked about this in, like, the first episode of this series, of this book, because I was honestly, what I think she did just set the foundation for it to happen, but, like, they all kind of stepped into the trap themselves.
Yes. I mean, literally, it's the whole thing of handed Tamlin a rope to hang himself with.
So honestly, I don't necessarily, I guess she could probably partially fault herself for this, but definitely not full fault.
Definitely not.
But obviously, Rhysand kind of tries to talk to him. He's like, I had to do it, Tarquin. I had to. I tried to avoid this. Come to the meeting, Tarquin. We need you. Prythian needs you. Take your mate and leave, and I'd suggest warning her not to give High Lord's orders. She is High Lady of the Night Court. She may do as she wishes.
I do appreciate, though, that it suggests that she was about to whirl around and say something about it.
Oh, yeah. But I really love how he just laughs. He lets out a bitter laugh, but you do love to spit on tradition. Which is literally Tarquin's whole thing. Like, that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
That's why he liked Rhys in the first place.
Yeah.
If anything, I really, really think this actually, I think that started, like, Tarquin's path towards forgiveness, because that was showing him, that's a main example right there of him believing what they said about how they believe in another way, or they believe in, women getting more seats at the table, or lesser fairies being prioritized.
And, he did, mention demolishing the High Lord system maybe eventually. And, this is kind of the start, because that's a High Lady right there.
And there's 2 rulers instead of 1. So I really do think that actually, honestly, besides all the other shit that they were trying to say, I feel like that proved more anything to him than everything else. But, regardless of what Tarquin says, they still stay on the border in the Illyrian camps to make sure that nothing else happens.
And also to tend to their wounded, of course.
Right. So again, we get another great Illyrian camp.
This one's a war camp, though.
Yes, this is a war camp. This isn't back up in the mountains. Stop. We'll get there. Anyway, so Cassian, tending to what is such a good general.
Even though he's limping around. Also, going back real quick to when Rhys appeared, her first question was Cassian as?
They were okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love how Cassian is kind of going around, and he's very somber, but he's taking care of his soldiers. And, well, I love how Rhys is everything he should be. He's confident, walking around with poise. It's like, that's a leader right there. And I'm like, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but also Feyre's helping the healers and, getting water for them. And she legit falls asleep next to the water bucket.
Falls face first into the mud.
God.
Also, totally me, though, of like, I'm just gonna sit down a few minutes.
And then just, passes out.
Yep.
I do like how she appears in, like, the big High Lord tent with furs all over the place and, like, a bunch of just shit. And I'm like...
furs.
Dude, I feel like the furs should have been the catalyst for me to think that a sex scene was going to occur.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should have been my trigger.
Also, you think war camp and you think big tent war camp?
Honestly, yes. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones or any other like fantasy-esque war thing like that, very much the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I just love Rhys. It's very this is very domestic, even though it's wartime, because like she's asleep, he got her, cleaned her up, but he's very alert, looking at the casualty list and everything.
Mm-hmm.
3 hours she was out.
At least she was probably expecting like days or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, also she's never used this much of her magic that much in a single setting.
Mm-hmm.
Tarquin lost more than we did. Oh, I love how Cassian is the one that sends the word out to the families and visited them if he knew them.
Right. Hopefully treated him shitty as a kid.
I know, those are good leaders.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, even if the Illyrians don't like him, they at least respect that about him.
Yeah.
In the barest of minimums. Also, I really love this scene. Just because of the fact that we're kind of really understanding what this it's almost like we're getting into even psychological warfare here.
Mm-hmm.
Of, talking about the king and what he said.
Yeah.
It's like all of this. I'm not talking about like just Adriana. The attack on the library are all ways to know he's hitting his opponent where they've never been hit before.
And where it really hurts.
Because he knows, because now Valaris is no longer a secret. The Court of Dreams is, even though they don't know what it's called, their court is no longer a secret.
Mm-hmm.
At least to Hybern. To the other High Lords, obviously they don't know, but it's no longer secret from them. And so, right. And that's what, and remember in chapter 54, if we remember, that was one of Rhys's biggest hitting points for that. He was afraid of people knowing about, like, especially the whole Under the Mountain thing. That's what his biggest fear was, that they would figure out who was closest to him and would hurt. I guess I like what Feyre says here. Move the High Lords meeting sooner, 3 days from now. Okay. Oh, she says, I love you. And he goes, there was a time when I dreamed of hearing that, and when I never thought I'd hear it from you. Oh my god. And our trip here was the first time I let myself hope. Oh my god. And I told you this last book. I said that. I said I think he actually started to love her here.
Mm-hmm.
Or to let himself at least.
Mm-hmm. Let himself hope.
And I love, quote, the world should know how good you are, Rhysand. How wonderful all of you are. You are more than I ever dreamed for myself.
Oh my god.
Because she's like,
no.
I know, because she's like, what role will you play? The usual one. Let's take the masks off. Let's show the world the Court of Dreams.
That's a scary decision.
It is, but honestly, I think it was a good protective mechanism when Valaris was like a secret, but honestly, it's not really doing anything for it's no longer useful.
Right.
I think it helped them when they needed it, but now it's not helping them.
Mm-hmm.
It's making them second guess. That's why the whole thing and that's what she says. She's like, that's why it went so bad with Tarquin today, because we didn't just tell him right out of the gate.
Right.
She's like, let's go as a family, no lies. To the stars who listen and to the dreams that are answered. Their quote.
That's like their quote.
I know, it's the quote of the book series, I think. It's like, yeah, they might be angry about the lies you told them, but at least like they'll understand then.
I mean, yeah, there's gonna be a chance that they're gonna think that that's another lie, but they should know better. Like, Rhys, that doesn't seem like something Rhys would lie about.
But But I will say, caveat, let's keep the fact that Feyre has powers a secret because that could spell catastrophe. Baron will still want to kill her.
Yeah.
Even after the war.
She'll be strong enough to kick his ass.
I guess, like, that doesn't really have anything to do with them coming in with honesty. I feel like that's more of, like, a side thing.
I feel like
we won't
Baron's
say
probably
this.
gonna die very soon anyways.
Yeah, he doesn't need to know anyway, so.
Like, imagine, like, it's in the war, and say he does, like, decide. Well, even if he decides to side with Hybern, and it's just like, oops. Oops, my sword accidentally went through his head. Oh no.
Yeah, a lot of people die in war, you know. This would be a perfect time for Aerys to kill him. Why not?
Father, watch out for my sword.
But it's interesting that apparently as High Lady, she could get some of his powers from him, which they're kind of going to go in with that, like that she got powers from him. I also love how they bring up Miriam and Draken again as a possibility, but like still nobody can find them and they wanted to be forgotten by the world. And I think I understand that, but also didn't set up like a way to communicate between them.
Right.
To their own detriment.
At first I could understand that, but then, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really helping them here. To be fair, remember at the start of this, they didn't really have any possible allies. You know, Miriam and Draken are possible. Vasa is possible. I mean, it's all based on fucking luck and hope and shit, but at least it's something.
Right.
Of course, this is actually pretty iconic. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
This war camp sex scene is pretty iconic. Like, a lot of people know about it. Like, or a lot of people reference it, and I was surprised at that. Because it's not very long.
Right.
Dude, Feyre taking the lead, I'm not gonna lie, great. Big old thumbs up.
To show Rhys that he's so good. Like, he's such a good male.
I know. She's like pushing him down onto the fur. I should have known. The fucking fur dude. I should have known. But pushes him on, and like she's like, guess we'll have to be quiet. There's not really privacy in a war.
Right. Of course he could put up a sound silencing.
I feel like he actually would want them to hear.
I mean, probably, honestly.
But also, you can't think that there's no other people fucking in that whole camp.
Oh, probably.
There is. So she's like straddling him, unbuttoning. It's like, since suppose you'll have quiet. It's like, god damn. She fucking gives him a blowjob in this war tent. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the funniest fucking line, I think, of the entire thing. Let me find it. Yeah, here it is. I burst out laughing, by the way. Also, to let you guys know a little, like, I went to a girls' weekend, girls' vacays, so I was, like, traveling the weekend, and so when I was doing my notes for this section, I burst out fucking, like, belly laughing, and, like, so I had the graphic audio going in my ears so nobody was hearing what I was listening to, and I just burst out laughing when this line specifically came up. It was, his growls of pleasure filled the tent, drowning out the distant cries of the injured and dying.
What a great line.
Dude, Sarah, what the fuck? What hilarious writing. What? I think I get the symbolism here, because then she's like, the undying light pushing death away. But you're also legit just saying that, like, this chick is giving her guy a blowjob in the middle of a war tent, and it's like, yep, we're drowning out the sound of the dying.
There's so very much, like, just all the memes that I can find. Like, there's a common occurrence of the fact that Rhys literally shakes the ground whenever he climaxes. And there's, like, there's this specific meme that I'm thinking of that I saw most recently, which was, like, two people hiding under a table. Like, it's from, like, an earthquake type thing of what to do under an earthquake. But the caption of it is, whenever Rhys climaxes again, and then the words are, third time today. Good for the High Lord.
Yeah, I feel like I see so many memes about that specifically. So
yeah.
I appreciate it. But it's such a small scene, but it's so iconic somehow.
It is.
So again, they make their way back to Valaris the next day, while everybody else is offering condolences for the few families. And Nesta's like pacing in the foyer, and Amren's also sitting very worried.
Seething.
Yeah, like, there was a battle, we won. Amren's like, we know that. What happened? She says what happened with Tarquin, but we all know who she's asking about. I kind of love Rhys's and hers dynamic, though, because he knows who she's asking about, but he wants to do it, like, in a very sly way. The royal family is safe and sound. It's like, okay. Bro, this fucking killed. And it was such a big awe when I first read it, because the first time this is happening. So, obviously, Amren's happy to know that Varian is safe and well, but the first thing Nesta says, not even to Feyre, it's, where is he?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the first time, like, she's said his name.
But yes, no, this is the first time, like, we know exactly who she's talking about.
And Rhys crooned.
And this is the first time we're hearing her say his name, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Whole last book, whole this book, she hasn't once said his name. She's like, Cassian. It's like,
so Moore did not have to be so icy.
Honestly, okay, for how Nesta's been this time, I feel like my first time reading this, I felt like it was deserved. Rereading it, probably not.
Mm-hmm. Also, Moore, like, do you really have as friends, yes, but, like, do you really have a right to protect Cassian like that?
Moore and Nesta against each other is very bad news, and she does not seem happy that Nesta is asking about him. She says, keep your forked tongue when he gets behind your teeth. Damn. Obviously, she doesn't say anything, but there's also, I get being protective over him, especially how much he's being, but also it seems like he can take care of himself with her. I'm not gonna lie.
I understand, he's in maybe slightly more of a fragile space right now because he lost soldiers. He lost a few soldiers and, is writing all the letters and might be visiting some families. Okay, I understand that. He might be a little more on the edge. But, like, that doesn't mean he can't take care of himself. If anything, I feel spatting with Nesta might make him happier.
Yeah.
Like, might help. I mean, distraction is not always great, but this one might be. So it's like
a constant, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I hate how Feyre's first reaction to that isn't about Nesta. It's about how Moore wants to keep Cassian as this, like, eternal buffer between her and Azriel.
Mm-hmm.
And if Cassian goes off and is with somebody else, that she won't be that for him anymore.
Yeah.
And for Feyre to say that, like, she's basically using them, it's rough.
Yeah, that is.
Because that's the first thing she says. So that's obviously going to be a future, they're going to have to deal with their differences kind of thing when it comes to him.
Yeah.
I do love the detail, though, about how Amryn is wearing the necklace that Varian gave her. Like, wearing it.
Like, actually wearing it. She was probably playing with it while she was seething on the couch.
Oh, but that's so cute. Like, totally made me think romance. I'm like, bro, they've probably been sending letters back and forth to each other.
They've probably been meeting in secret, honestly, is my opinion.
Yeah, I could. I didn't think about that, but I could vibe with that.
Can you imagine, like, Varian taking Amryn on a date?
I could. I feel like she's actually soft.
I think so. She's very tsundere.
But he also wants a top, so...
But
he cannot be with Amryn.
He's gonna treat her so well outside of the bedroom, though.
Yeah. You can't be with Amryn and not want a dominant woman. That's not how that works.
He'll take care of her outside the bedroom and then totally let her dom later.
Yeah. So I do like this last scene, though, with, Amryn and Nesta going back to their studies. Mm-hmm. And I love how she says, Cassian has gone to war many times, girl. He isn't general of Rhys's forces for nothing. She reassures her about, like, where he is. She's like, he's probably going to see the Fallen. And she's like, I don't care.
I feel like that I don't care was, like, the affront. Like, I don't care where he is. Like, great that he's safe, whatever. But I also, maybe I'm reading too much into this. I also feel like she's saying, I don't care that he's gone to war multiple times. Like, I'm still worried.
I definitely did not about it. Like,
I mean, I might be reading too much into it, but I feel like there's an underlying of that. And maybe I'm just projecting because I think they'd be cute together.
I thought it was more just of a, like, she's saying a blatant lie because there's not really much else to say. She's like,
which
I don't care.
Is more valid.
Which is more, like, obvious. It's like, obviously not. That's obviously not the case.
Or if it was, like, specifically, he'll be back in time for the meeting. It's like, I don't care. I don't care about the meeting.
Yeah, but I guess the intention we don't know, but it could be anything. She's obviously trying to cover up her feelings.
Like she usually does.
But I love how at the end of this, she's like, I guess we're going to the prison. I'm like, wait, we're going to the prison? Why? Okay.
Just down the bond, she's like, take me to the prison right now.
Okay, babe. So it's a very quick prison scene, but Feyre doesn't bring a bone with her when they go to visit. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think this makes sense because she's not really asking it a question. Mm-hmm. There's not really a question here. It's more just talking.
Yeah.
She's very demanding, like, pick another item. But he wants nothing else. He wants to gaze upon the world. He's not afraid of the mirror, but that makes sense, though. Mm-hmm. Why would he be afraid of it?
Right. Also, it doesn't really seem like he needs to see anything. He already, like, knew about Nesta.
I know, yeah. I feel like that's a world's maybe question.
Maybe.
Are you frightened of it too, Rhysand? Dude, the bone carver says, what more are you willing to give? Your firstborn son? Rumpelstiltskin looking ass. What fuck?
Rumpelstiltskin. Oh yeah, that guy. That guy.
Yeah, he was it's like the whole folk tale of
Yeah.
he asked for a firstborn son.
I'll turn this straw into gold if you give me your firstborn son.
Uh-huh.
Now, there's a Studio C comedy skit about that. I'll have to send that to you later.
And now Reese finally understands why she saw a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's their first son. And he's like so shocked. He's like, not just any boy then. No.
The fact, though, that it is, what about your firstborn, but like gesturing to himself, like he knows what he's appeared as her.
Yeah, but not to him. Like, because Reese hasn't. We actually don't know what Reese sees at the moment. We
Mm-hmm.
know he saw a jury in the first time, but we don't know what he sees now.
Mm-hmm. The Carver's just like, it's rude, Majesties, to speak when no one can hear you.
Which makes me think that how does he know that they're talking to each other? Because it's not as obvious to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, okay. Okay, they went to the prison for legit nothing. And Reese throws a chicken bone at it? What an insult, dude. Dude, he like hisses at them too when they leave. I think it makes sense because they didn't ask a question, but I see why he would hiss. But then he asks what their firstborn son looks like. He wants to see. He's like, what does he look like? Oh.
I will say, the fact that she's like, I'll have to find some way to get it after meeting. Like, she knows that she has to be at the meeting.
Oh, yeah. Like, she can't gamble looking into it before the meeting.
Right.
Yeah. The Ouroboros thing is scary. But yes, they go back to the townhouse. And what do they see? Like, Amber and Nesta are there, but guess who they walk in on when they go into the kitchens? It's Nuala and Caradwyn and Elaine, of all people.
I've missed Nuala and Caradwyn. We haven't really gotten much of them from this book.
I know.
I guess Elaine is doing something, so that's good. But also Nuala and Caradwyn, the twins.
She's out of her room. They're making bread. And it's like at first the twins are a little nervous because obviously Elaine is a highborn. Technically, in their eyes. She's just like, oh, she wanted to help. She's not here because, we made her or anything. And I really do love this moment with Feyre, though. Like, even though we have our opinions of Elaine, I think this is sweet, especially for Feyre, because she sees her sister wanting to eat, and especially Rhysand bringing up about how he felt. Like, that's how I felt that night on the Sidra when you said that. I really love the repeat.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love how he also says we all have a long way to go, reiterating the fact that they're not all perfectly healed, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, they might seem more put together, but like they're not perfect. Again, can I just appreciate Rhysand as a character being just like, oh, very sweet. We all have a long way to go. Oh, by the way, I gotta make up for last night, so you decide whether I eat you out or you eat the food first. It's like, what the fuck? Just like the jumping here is, I appreciate it, but also there's a level of like, god damn, give me like a second to have like a sweet moment and then we can move on.
Right.
But of course, Feyre picks wisely.
Yes.
So did that mean she ate first? Or wait, like, I actually don't know which happened first.
I think that she ate first so that she could have the energy. Because most likely he would be ravenous and she'd probably end up falling asleep afterwards.
Ah, I see. Because I was actually thinking that too. I was like, yeah, she probably ate first, didn't she?
And then she would recap his meal.
Yeah, I mean, his seconds. Anyway, so and then, of course, we have this last scene with Nesta at the table again. It's real. She's like, keeps looking out the window for Cassian to come back.
Waiting for him.
Why is this me? Why would this be me? If that was the kid, like, it would be me. But of course, Amren is saying that she is close to a breakthrough with the book, and Nesta's close to a breakthrough with her powers, so that's great. Of course, Nesta speaks to her, Feyre, you're going to the meeting in 2 days. Yes. You went off to battle without a second thought. Why? Because I had to. Because people needed help.
That's sweet.
And basically, that's the end of that. Off she goes to the flying lesson, and here we are back in the sequence of events until the next event happens.
I think there's a part of me that admires the fact that, you can clearly see that Feyre is kind of, thinking about the war, but not as much as she would have in the past. Or, sorry, specifically that battle. But the fact that the inner circle kind of goes right back to it, because they've been through it before. They go right back to their normal, jobs before.
Yeah, I see. Because, kind of what else would they be doing? They'd be doing their same duties to try to make everything seem tip-top shape.
Right.
So I appreciate these set of scenes a lot, just because this is a lot of, we had to put them all together because they happen so so much in sequential order.
Mm-hmm.
But also, same time, I appreciate it because now we're finally getting like the actiony bitch, which I think could people approve, or people like a little bit more sometimes than the lore aspects. But I like it all, so
I think it all flows together really well, and the fact that there's such diversity in the writing,
agreed,
makes it good.
So many hilarious moments. But yeah, so that's the end of the deep dive for me.
I mean, you covered it pretty well.
Thank you.
That was a lot to go through for sure. But then, to finish up this episode, we are moving on to our second section where we talk about the graphic audio. So take it away.
Okay, so have you read up until this section?
I have not listened all the way up.
Okay.
Just to the last bit, though. I listened up to the end of the battle.
Oh, okay.
So I did not get to the war camp scene.
Okay, fair. I guess getting right into it. So obviously a great graphic audio section, but I think if we're going back to the top of chapter 30, I guess when they're at the townhouse and like, it's like the little moments before like the breakfast scene. I love like the clanging of silverware to kind of set the scene. Before like they know it's breakfast, there's like a clanging of silverware and then it's like, and the boys still. I also love John, the moment where he like stuffed the muffin in his mouth and he's like, morning, Nesta.
Yeah. It's such a boyish thing, though.
Also, I don't know about you, but I totally felt like the whole essence of him like reaching over, and especially in audio, I could hear it, and I was like, "Bro, too close." It's like too close
to the microphone. It's like, "Oh, Nesta,"
and I'm like, "Oh my god, okay, okay, John." And then, of course, the Nesta Pharaoh library scene was very vulnerable. It's not very often where we see Nesta have these vulnerable moments, and so I just appreciated Natalie and her performance, that specifically. And even Feyre's kind of stepping up to her plate of being more assertive towards her. Being like, yeah, I didn't think you would help me. Honestly.
Yeah.
Also, oh my god. So before the fight sequence happens with the ravens, the Fey lights flickering out, you could hear it along with the music, and that is what made me actually notice the more horror movie aspect of it.
Yeah.
Than I would have probably in the deep dive.
Definitely.
It totally gave an eerie vibe. And it was really cool. And then obviously, I think the one moment, like besides the whole, I mean, there was a bunch of running music that was all good, but the dust and the Faebane was cool because there was a moment of a powder like sound,
right? And
I was like, oh shit, there it is, it's in my face. Very interactive, very interactive. Of course, then I love the dun dun noises when she's like, okay, I had two options before me. You know, the level of urgency. The Ravens' voices were cool. I thought they were like, it seems like everybody in Hybern has a sort of accent, and I didn't really notice this beforehand. But there's a like they have a little lilt. It's not like they have an accent like British or something like that. It's more just like a lilt in their voice. And yeah, I love how they're still running while the monologuing has happened. Like you can hear the running alongside. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The thing I really, really appreciated on top of all the layers of running, music, monologuing is that Elaine's voice actor comes back in for the memory. The twin ravens. I saw hands wither with age.
Right. Kind of like back in chapter 54 of Akamath, of Reese's voice coming back with the "I was there you are, I've been looking for you." Well,
I know, it was really chilling. I really like that. Liked that a lot. It was a good choice. I mean, I also liked Nesta's voice here as well. Like, no, I won't leave you. The sense of urgency. But then it was, very easily tempered.
Yeah.
The music down the stairs was cool. I also loved the sound of her clawing at the side of the books. Like the palming of the books. Like you could hear that.
Yeah. Some kind of ASMR shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone with their long nails just tapping on books and stuff.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like that. And then, of course, the voice in the library was so chilling. It was like different chilling than I think like the Bone Carver was. It obviously wasn't the same voice, but there was also like a level of skeeziness to it where it's just like, I haven't seen the Bone Carver in a long time. It's just like, ew. Right. But at the same time, it was funny. Also, when we brought up in the main section, we were talking about the ravens getting nervous, thinking that she was going to like cast a spell on them. Yeah. You could hear the nervousness in their voices of just like, do you think she knows a spell like the master does? Right,
because when I read it at first, I read it and I was just like, I thought it was like more mocking of like, do you think she knows? Like kind of like wondering. But definitely in the graphic audio, they were more nervous. It's like, oh, interesting.
Made an interesting choice that definitely wasn't like a textual thing, but made sense. Also, just the sequence of events, the Fey light opening, like, or coming around, hearing the Fey light on, to the sequence of the ravens getting torn to shreds and hearing the screams and shit.
I think they've done well with the screams before.
Oh yeah, and specifically just the wrenching apart. Like, you could hear like the torn flesh and shit. I was like, oh damn, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, graphic audio. Also, the last thing of that chapter that really hit me was that you hear Cassian's wings before he reaches her, which again is an element that you wouldn't think actually matters, but it's like, oh yeah, because he flew down there.
Right.
It makes sense that she would hear his voice hear the wings before she heard the voice.
Right.
It was just a little thing that added a lot of element to it.
That's usually how it is, and that's how you build a good soundtrack.
Yes. Then I think chapter 34, moving on, when they get back, the keep drinking, that was hilarious. The very growly keep drinking. I feel like that was him more saying that to himself than to them.
Yeah.
But also the music when like Reese busts in with his bloody hands and just like the badass music in the background, I'm just like, that's what made it seem like it was hot to me. I was, okay. Also, you know how I love Anthony being all like,
yeah, I know,
hi lordy and and being like his aggressive self. You know how I love his range.
I know, you just love Anthony.
That's it. Shut the fuck up. It's fine. I love him. He's a very good professional voice actor, okay?
He makes your words stop and turn into...
Because he's just so vulnerable in these scenes. Anyway, okay.
I get it. He is really good. He is really skilled as well.
He is. He makes me love the character even more than I normally did. And I loved Rhysand at the top, so... I love how the memory is from the first book. The memory is there from the first book about, again, like the same thing with Elaine. How Rhysand saying about her tattoo. All the bargains made in my court come with tattoos. That quote was from the original, and I did it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but yeah.
Yeah. Again, we also love seeing the memory of Cass seeing Nesta was so good because like Natalie, Nesta's voice actor, was like panting, and she's like just hearing her be like, Feyre, Hybern,
help, basically.
Ooh, the little squeak she gave too, like that was an animal. We didn't really bring that up in like the main part because again, we could bring up everything. You know, we wouldn't have enough time, but...
Oh yeah, the distressed noise.
Yeah, she gave like an animal squeak and that made Cassian like roar with anger.
Yeah, like the moment she saw him, she made that distressed squeak and he's just like, no way.
And...
It was very subtle though.
Yeah, it wasn't like a huge noise. It was more just of a...
Which I think fits into Nesta's character.
Again, like I said, I love seeing Anthony get mad, but especially he didn't overdo it. He didn't like scream or anything, but there was a level of like, I'm mad. Why do you think I'm mad? Like it was more of stern than anger.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciated that.
It was like the icy rage kind of vibe rather than like physically mad.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, he just didn't overdo it. So I was happy about that. No, I didn't think he would. I just want to appreciate that.
Yeah.
I will say the one thing that was really cool about everybody understanding Elaine was before there was like not a level of silence with Elaine talking, but as soon as Elaine speaks, there's this very dead silence.
Yeah, I noticed
and
that.
Then Melody starts up her narration again, and I really thought that was cool.
At first, I thought that my like Audible was lagging or something.
And it just, it was totally on purpose.
Yeah. And
of course, you know, the little Lucian Azrael moment was good as well, because like Lucian, just very Gabriel, very tenderly, does she need, but then also Az coming in with the whole, she doesn't need anything.
A little assertive there, sir.
Honestly, we haven't really gotten to see him a little bit assertive, so go off, Sean.
Even if I don't ship him, I'm so good.
Hey, dude, I can freak out over my guy, so you are fair game to freak, so
I freak out internally.
For sure.
Until an occasional phrase or statement pops out.
Especially.
But I've been very controlled about it for now.
I will not, so.
Oh, I know.
But I never said I would be, so. I've never made that statement. Then I think at chapter 33, you know, because again, like I told you guys before, the graphic audio, it doesn't really have chapter numbers, so this transition between the music at the top being cool, of them kind of figuring it out, putting it all together, was really, really cool. They've used this music before, and it's kind of, I kind of think of it as like a ACOTAR OST a little bit. of like, oh, this is the music when they figure it out and it's very plot relevant and it's important information. Honestly, I know we don't like Elaine, but Elaine nailed this fucking section for her graphic audio.
Yeah.
Totally nailed it. I loved it to death.
Well, blended perfectly, like the kind of distant, but also like new focus.
Yeah, there was a new focus, but also there was a sense of, like, she wasn't losing Elaine's character of, she didn't just become assertive all of a sudden.
Right.
It was still very tentative, but also there was also a sense of happiness with it.
Of like, hey,
figuring out that she wasn't crazy.
Right, yeah.
Again, Gabriel's another guy I love, so I'll talk about him again. But again, I appreciate the emotion in Lucian's voice of finding a purpose. Because when he's like, I'll go. It was so...
He's like, it was like, something I can do for my mate.
And especially that whole line of, you know, I'm finally doing something. I was like, oh.
Sweet boy.
Also, girl, every fucking time they have like an intimate scene between Melody and Anthony, Feyre and Rhysand, I just cannot get over it. They're so great.
I think it actually did, when I was listening to it, it did make me shed a tear.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the kind of thing that we look in relationships.
Yeah, because it's so sweet, because she, like, you can hear her like wiping him off, but then there's a level of him being, the range of emotion that Anthony has when he's speaking about it is so wild, because he's like, especially that line of, you know, what's the point in having all this power if I can't, and it was so,
it's almost like acting or something.
Yeah, it was like, can these guys get Oscars? Because I feel like I would give Anthony and Melody Oscars for their performance.
Aren't there like award shows for voice actors? There should be.
I think there is, but it's not very as much well known as, and I don't think they're as represented in like the acting community as they should be.
Right, because this is talent. To be able to express a character without anything other than your voice, I think that's honestly sometimes more talent than like theater acting. No offense.
Bitch.
I said sometimes.
It's like, don't fucking come at me, bro. More than musical acting for sure.
Yeah.
Coming at the musical people. Sorry for any musical people out there. I just think sometimes people just care more about how the song sounds than the acting.
Or on top of that, they're more focused on how they're looking in terms of like the acting rather than actually embodying the character. So
I understand what you mean.
Musical theater actors or normal theater actors, whatever. I can't very well act. So like I can't, I don't have a good place to speak. But at the same time, I'm just playing.
It's an opinion. I
Not even
appreciate
a real opinion. It's just playing. But they do need more recognition. That I will say.
But then I think there wasn't really much in chapter 34 because obviously this is like before Adriata. But I think I like the eerie music at the top when they're talking about Amryn and her hunting, because it's not eerie as in like a bad guy music, but it's very much so, you know, the lamb's blood. And I also love the very specific difference of, because in this scene, Rhys and Feyre are in the one, so when Amryn bursts in, Nesta's like in the other room while Feyre and Rhysand are in the other room while Nesta's like in another room. And so there's like a difference of the audio. Like it's almost like there's a sound barrier between them.
Yeah.
I just appreciated the attention to detail. And I have to say it every time. And obviously everything, the chapter 35, the music readying for the first battle was epic. I took Nesta's questions before the Battle of Adriata very differently in the graphic than I did when I read it the first time. Because I feel like in the text, it's very pointed because Nesta's a pointed character. What do you know of battle? Why are you fighting? Like there's a level of question versus I feel like Natalie for the graphic makes Nesta so much more deeper than what probably people thought. Because she's like, well, what do you know of battle? Not in a sense of, not in an intent of, what do you know? But it was a really, what do you know? You're gonna get hurt.
Right. A level of caring.
Yes, a level of concern that was not there, but intended to be there this time.
Right.
It's a good actor to be able to get a character who's kind of not somebody that people like, but to give them more nuance than what they were originally given. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also, the music under Moore's description from Melody about here's the Morrigan, the warrior, whatever, was very epic.
Yeah. I mean, Moore was very epic during it, for sure.
And of course, the whole summer court, especially when they winnow in and immediately there's screaming, blades afoot, like the immediate background noise was wild, and it set up the scene really good.
Almost made me smell that blood blood in the water.
Yeah, very much so. Definitely gave that vibe. Also, more talking about the war thing was also so sad to hear. Almost made me shed a tear. Again, because this is the first time Moore's actually fighting. Because we haven't seen her fight yet. Because she didn't fight in Valaris.
Right.
She was at the Hewn City at the time. Also, I wasn't really shell-shocked by this, but there was a level of, when they're creeping their way through the palace, there's a very creepy sound. I'm not saying I didn't like it, but an eeriness that I didn't have when I read it. Because I thought they were just gonna get through the palace, no fucking qualm, but...
That'd be too easy.
Yeah, but when I listened to it, there was a sense of actual urgency. There was a stake.
Yeah.
As my theater teacher would like to say back when I was in college, the stakes were high. More than I thought they were.
Right.
Then, of course, chapter 36 was more the fighting, the fire magic, hearing the beheading, hearing the water were all great points.
Taking me back nostalgia to the attack on Valaris.
Yes, very much so. Hearing more of her powers was also a cool thing to hear. Also, Melody's narration was just so dark and vicious, and I loved it. Just this, like, especially during that scene where we were talking about those women getting assaulted, and we gave them 2 knives so they can finish them off. Damn, the viciousness. I was like, okay, yes, queen. Then when they were making their way through the streets of Adriata, there was this, like, very epic trumpet music. That's really the only way I can describe it.
I'd say that's pretty similar.
Like, very much triumphant, like, starting to turn the tide a little bit.
Yeah. Because they cleared the palace.
Yes.
And we're now moving on to expanding that security.
Yes. And then, obviously, at the end of the chapter, when the king enters, the bone-chilling music that came with him, hearing him step up to the top of the deck, was like...
I could have gone a couple more chapters without hearing his voice again.
Yeah, because we haven't heard him since last book.
The end of last book, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could have gone longer without hearing that for a while.
This was a thing that I didn't think that they would have added, but they did. I love how the king and Rhys sound muffled in her ears, like when they're talking, because I don't really ever think we've seen it where she's like, he's shown her like retroactive memories, but this is the first time she's watching a scene from his eyes in a current moment.
Right.
So it's like they changed the audio in a way to make it sound different than like times before. So it's like the king and Rhysand were muffled. I guess because she was like behind his mind, so it made it like, it makes sense, but I was just surprised of the choice.
I thought I noticed that, but I didn't like notice it. I didn't clock it. But like part of me now like wonders if it was because, you know, his walls were like much thicker. His mental shields were much thicker so that no one else could get in. So maybe like that was slightly muffled, but I don't know, Damati, if that was
well, we don't really know what the intent was, but it could be. Hell, I didn't even think about that.
I feel like that would be like if going way back and learning about Damati, about like getting trapped in someone else's mind while your body is made to do something else, for example, that would give the act of being muffled because you couldn't actually escape from there. So maybe it's muffled because he closed the path behind her, whereas before it was clear because there's a clear path back to her mind.
Yeah, I see that. And then obviously I gotta talk about Anthony again. Him as calm and steady Rhys is hot as hell. Not gonna lie, like especially him talking to the King of Hybrid. Go off, Anthony. We love you.
You like his spicy voice. You like his calm, collected voice. You like his angry voice.
I think I like Court of Nightmares Rhysand and Soft Boy Rhysand probably the most out of his like.
Boy Rhysand is
top notch.
It's beautiful.
I did bring this up during the main section, but I wanted to appreciate it because this is what made me appreciate it in the deep dive was the snickering that the Hybern soldiers did when talking about Amarantha. Made me so much more livid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was like, you shut the fuck up.
It pissed me off so much more than just reading it.
Also, hearing the king get mad about his family was actually pretty cool to see. Because, like, he started out pretty, like, as we've seen the king, he's been very calm in his narration. And then all of a sudden, he was just like, why did she kill my niece and nephew? Like, there was a level of madness to that.
Also, because you sent them into her home.
If you knew she was that dangerous beforehand, why did you?
I mean, even though the Spring Court wasn't technically her home then, though.
Then I guess moving on to chapter 38, I think going back into Feyre's mind was cool because it was described as Rhys pushed her back. So there was a level of like bunginess to like coming back into the body.
Bunginess.
That's the only way I could describe it, man.
Okay, valid though.
You have to listen to it to know what I mean.
Yeah.
So this wasn't a moment I really brought up in the main talking points because again, it's stuff that we could talk about forever. But when Feyre's monologuing before she sees Tarquin, the music underneath when she's talking about how people would rather... She finally understood now why people bowed to Hybern
Mm-hmm.
because of the power and might that they had.
Yeah.
There was a very gruesome music in the background, and I really appreciated it.
I mean, the music is always like spot on, but it's also amazing sometimes when you actually process it. Wow, this actually really does fit this scene.
And I have to bring it up every time, not because like I feel like I need to, but it's more like that's literally what I'm thinking of when I'm writing the note. Like again, these are all my first reaction notes to some. Well, again, I've listened to the graphic a lot, but my first gut reaction when I'm listening to them and looking noteworthy things. Okay, this was so stupid, but when they see Varian finally, when Moore and Feyre see Varian, and Varian spots them, there's a level of a moment there, but then he like whistles to somebody. I don't think it was scripted, but he's like, I don't know, he does kind of, it's not a wolf whistle, but it's very much like a, hey, come here, like, come here and help me do this or something.
Like a da-da, like
yeah,
a,
it was
not the, those old like ringtones of notification.
Yeah, and it was like, he just whistled for somebody to come help him while he talked to Feyre and Moore.
Hey, you.
And yeah, kind of like, but I was like, ooh, was that Varian's voice actor? Because that was pretty good. I'm not But again, I don't want to keep bringing up Soft Anthony, but there was specifically a moment in the graphic that really fucking pulled at my heartstrings, and it was when he appeared next to Feyre after the little thing with Tarquin, and he puts his hand on her lower back, and she says, Cassian, Asriel, in his mind, and he's just like, no, they're all right. He's like, don't. It was the fact that I was like, no, they're all right, and like the reaffirming and reassuring. I was like,
I think Feyre's definitely traumatized from seeing them attacked in Hybern.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then of course Anthony's just got to make it 10 times better than I thought it was originally. So then, yes, moving on to 39. So this is when they're at the war camp. There's very much like this choral music behind Melody's narration of Rhysand and Cass. Very angelic, but also very lordly. You know, when she's talking about Cassian as a good general and Rhysand as a perfect High Lord.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty beautiful. Ugh, girl, I can't, man. I can't with this fucking guy. So then, of course, they're at the war camp. So it's the war camp scene. And specifically the line of, I thought I never would hear that from you. There's kind of a sigh. It's like, I never thought I'd hear that from you. And it was very sweet. And I was like, oh.
So sweet.
And honestly, okay, I'm not gonna lie, when I first read this book and when I first listened to the graphic audio, I repeated Melody's monologue, Feyre's monologue scene of letting go about the mask. I pre-played it a lot because I love how punctuated, but I also loved how confident it sounded. Like the fact that Feyre's putting her hand on Rhysand's face and looking up, she's like really serious and saying, we need to let go of the masks. And then there was so much rain of, you know, I want to show the world how wonderful you are. The world needs to know you're selfless and kind. And look at how bad it went with Tarquin today. The range of conversation was epic. And I was like, oh, it's so good. We love a tenderness of a sex scene. I'm not gonna lie.
Or a tender moment that turns into a sex scene.
Yeah, it's like, especially like hearing the background music of just playing, so you have quiet then. The fucking music, again, of just, there's no thing, there's not much privacy in a war tent. And I'm like, oh, you fucking guys, bruh. And then, but right before, like, they actually get to the blowjob, it was this sense of, she's like, very intimate, she says, with you, with the King of Hybern, he's like, I know, felt you. And it was like, fucking Anthony, stop this, please. I legit need you to not stop. I mean,
no, you gotta keep doing it. She needs you to keep doing it.
Please, like, make all of my graphic audiobooks. I need you to be in every graphic audio I listen to. And then I think at the end of the chapter, hearing Nesta be so, where is he? It wasn't even demanding, but it was very much of like well, where is he?
Like, kind of concerned.
Yeah, it was layered, and I could totally tell. The level of, she elongated his name too. Cassian.
Emphasis on Cass.
And I was just like, ooh, if he had heard her say his name, he would have been like instantly hard, I think. Like, I think that's the level that was going there. I think it was to probably spit at Rhys too, but there was also a level of admiration for the name. That was also layered. Natalie does such a good job, so we're gonna really appreciate her. So
yeah.
And then of course the last chapter, another bone carver scene. I mean, he's always creepy. I love the audio. audio.
He's a funny character. I like him.
And I also just like the hiss too of just like, and I'm
The
like,
chicken
oh,
bone.
yeah, it was a really interesting hiss, by the way.
Otherworldly?
Yes, otherworldly. The first time I was actually scared of it. Scared of the bone carver. And then, of course, Reese with the sun, he was just like, it was almost, you know, the kawaii thing, this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Two fingers pointing at each other. I could just imagine them getting outside the prison and him just being like, can I see him? That was the level of narration that Anthony's voice gave for that. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, because it makes you think back. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, a boy around 8 years old is what he had previously heard.
Like, oh my. And then going back to the kitchens and hearing the twins and Elaine laugh was pretty good. It was pretty sweet. And then okay, because obviously we can't end this without like Anthony just fucking flipping it on us and going from sweet boy to what was it?
Yes,
I think it was specifically like, it's almost like I could feel him, you know, because he's obviously so tall, but there's a sense of him Reese-Ann dipping down and saying, I owe you for last night, because they're literally standing outside of the kitchen. They would have heard them. So there was a level of secrecy to it where it was just like, so I owe you for last night. And I was just like, stop.
Right, he totally would not have cared if anyone heard him in the camp.
Oh no, hell no.
An exhibitionist.
Yeah, but I think he put up the barrier for Feyre's sake, though.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, how about this? I think the reason that he put up the barrier this time was because it was him losing control, and he didn't want others to hear him lose control. But if it was her losing control, he would totally be up for that. of them, everybody else hearing it, because he's like, guess who satisfied their mate last night? This guy.
Okay, I could see that. I could totally see that.
Versus it's too vulnerable for anybody else to know that he did. Gotta let the male have a little bit of pride, I guess. Let them not.
He is a very sensitive Illyrian baby.
To let them not know that it's like, I feel like Feyre would do the same though with her girlfriend. She'd just be like, guess who made some guy quick off the mark last night? Me. I feel.
I think she would. She has enough pride being with Reese.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the end of my graphic sections. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I mean, most of the time, I think I've mentioned it before. I do focus a lot on the musics of it. But I think it's just, obviously this is the third book, the third graphic audio book I've ever listened to, actually. And I think it's fun for me to start hearing certain scenes and words said in different ways than I originally processed them. That's something I'm starting to get used to, and obviously I look forward to it as well. And it just adds a whole nother level to it, a whole nother layer. And I know we've been saying that forever, but I definitely enjoy listening to it. And it gives me something to listen to each week.
There's an excitement about when you listen to a graphic audio and then you actually like it. And like, especially for me, because I told, if you know from our interviews, I told everybody, I listened to the graphic audios as they came out. Obviously, right. Liesl is in a better position because she's listening to them so I had to wait. So there was a level of anticipation that I was like, oh my God, when this part of Aka War comes out, I'll get to listen to the camp scene. Right. There was a level of excitement. Right. Especially, oh hell yeah, not gonna lie. So I appreciate that for a bunch. So that's the end of episode 6. We will be, next week we will have a mini episode, so we'll see some of you in episode 7, which will be going over chapters 41 through 47, which will be the High Lord scene. Whole meeting.
That's gonna
we had to put it in its own section because obviously that's why this one's a little bit longer, because that one needed to be all together. So yeah, that'll be exciting. But actually this next spoiler episode will be coming up next, so we'll see some of you there. We'll be talking about more in Amarin. So that'll be exciting to hear about. So again, I just wanted to promote again, so please follow our TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of our social medias for more content. And obviously Liesl's amazing graphics, the TikToks that I put together for Liesl to put on. And also please follow the Patreon if you want any more special video access, early audio access, and some access to my notes from every previous season. Yes. My list of scatterbrain notes that were...
They're really funny. They really are.
And we're starting up the Discord. So if you want to be a part of our Discord, please join the Patreon as well. So without further, I hope you guys stay happy and healthy, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep.
Bye guys.
Bye.